hit subscribe. Subscribe to my guy, Uncle D. Tell him Big Bass sent you.
Spurling. I'm an attorney here in Houston, Texas, an advocate for black men, largely because I am a black man. I'm a black father. I have black sons. Hey, man, I do what I do.
What's up? Welcome, everybody. Welcome to the Dennis Spurling podcast. And, I'd like to give a big shout out to my man, Mr. 43TX. Always good to see you in here, man, with the Wrench Mob. Make sure you all let me know where you're chiming in from. I know we have some people here from the UK. I know we have some people here from Canada. I know we got people from all over the world and, of course, all over the great United States of America. And for all my foundational Black American brothers and sisters, type 250 in the chat room, 250 to acknowledge that the United States of America, a country that we were instrumental in bringing about, the greatest country on the planet. We need to take our credit for that. Type 250 FBA in the chat room, 250 FBA, the only people in this country that actually earned their citizenship. Nothing was given. Everything was won through hard-fought war fighting and sacrifice. All my FBA, type FBA 250 in the chat room. All right. Now, as you see, it's pandering season. Somebody type Panda Bear in the chat room. Panda. Somebody type Panda. And we're about 4 months away from the November 3rd election season and the midterms, and that means America will soon decide who controls the House of Representatives, who controls the Senate, and whether the president will have a Congress capable of advancing his agenda or one determined to block it. Now, the thing about it is these elections will affect federal spending, judicial confirmations, immigration policy. Somebody type Southern Border in the chat room. Congressional investigations, taxes, healthcare, public safety, and the political direction of this country heading into 2028. The stakes are high and the margins are tight. Okay, they are tight. All right, I was gonna say something tight, but I ain't gonna say nothing. Okay, I used to play dominoes with my Uncle Slim, and they would always say some very derogatory, sexist things. I'm not gonna say anything about fish vagina. I'm not gonna say. They don't say fish vagina. They say it's tight like fish vagina, but they wouldn't use the vagina word. And I know I shouldn't be saying that, okay, but it's tight, okay? That's how tight these poles are, okay? They tight like fish vagina. That's something. Don't say that. I'm sorry. We got off to the wrong start. Hold on a minute. Let me drink my water and calm down. Nevertheless, what it means is every voting block is about to receive more attention than it has received during the previous year and a half, okay? And this is the beginning of the pandering season, okay? And Democratic politicians who haven't seriously mentioned Black Americans in years are suddenly gonna come to discover, okay? They're gonna come discover Black churches and they're gonna discover Black businesses just like Columbus, okay? They're gonna, just like he discovered America, right? Even though he really discovered the Dominican Republic, they're gonna discover it, all right? And they're gonna start promising reparations. Woo-wee. They're gonna talk about how much America owes Black women. Black women, get ready to have your butts kissed. They about to kiss. Your buttholes are gonna be chafed. They're gonna be kissing your butt. Black women, they're gonna remind all the Black people how we built this country. That's what they're gonna do. They're gonna do all that. And of course they're gonna tell Black men we need to step up and become better fathers and pull our pants up, right? We know this, right? We know that. Some brothers type pull your pants up in the chat room. They're gonna step up and say, pull your pants up and take care of your kids. That's the whole issue with the Black community. That's jobs be damned. Immigrant unregulated immigration be damned. Is pull your pants up, take care of your kids, and all your problems will be over. That's what they say. But anyway, of course, they're going to be claims of racism. Racism is at an all-time high. That's what they're going to say. It's everywhere. It's like it's everywhere like the air, okay? And they're going to tell us that this is the most important election of our lifetime. Democracy is on the ballot, and everything's at stake. Somebody type vote or die in the chat room. They're going to say vote or die. You're going to start seeing celebrity endorsements, stage photo opportunities, and these carefully planned visits to the black communities where all the black people already agree with them. You see, we're going to hear about, fish fries, catfish and fries, fried chicken, chicken fried steak, all the dinners. Look, French fries, Cajun fried French fries, everything, okay? Just about everything else that they can connect to black vote. That's what they're gonna do. Then suddenly they're gonna rediscover HBCUs. Okay, so they're gonna talk about civil rights language, criminal justice reform, affordable housing, economic development, every other issue that they believe can perk up the ears of black people and produce some votes. And they're gonna appear in a neighborhood near you. Okay, they're gonna be like. They're going to be everywhere. They're going to sit in restaurants they never supported before. They're going to quote historical figures. Phyllis Wheatley said this back in 1735. They barely even understand. They're going to speak as though they've been studying the concerns of Black America every day, like a child that has failed the SAT twice already. You understand me? I'm telling you. These campaign operatives, somebody type ops, these ops are going to produce these carefully tested slogans, and they're going to have their black surrogates out, as soon as they get them out of jail, for being caught in a hotel again with a man and some cocaine. They're going to get them all out of jail, all right? And they're going to go to the television and the podcasts, and every promise will be presented as though it created specifically for us. Somebody type special, we special. It's pandering season. Okay, this is where's the lie? Is there a lie in here anywhere? Have I told y'all any misinformation? Okay, again, my position is I'm not here to tell you who to vote for. That's not what I do. Okay, I don't do that. I tell you to vote your interest. Whatever you decide to do is on you. Okay, now some of you are gonna say, Dennis, why aren't you spending that same amount of time and energy talking about the Republican pandering? It's very simple. Republicans don't pander to black voters with the same intensity or regularity as Democrats because, frankly, they have very little political incentive to do so. You understand? Because we don't vote for them. For the past 40 years, Republican presidential candidates have typically received somewhere between 6 to 15% of the black vote. And with most elections falling in single digits, low teens, and that goes the same with the midterms. So from purely a political standpoint, the Republicans have concluded that Black America isn't a constituency that they're going to win in overwhelming numbers. Whether that's right or wrong, right, is a separate discussion. The point is that if a political party expects to lose nearly 9 out of every 10 black votes, it usually isn't going to invest the same amount of time, money, and energy trying to persuade those voters, okay? Instead, Republicans generally focus on motivating the voters they already have while hoping, to make some incremental gains around the edges. Now, I'm not saying Republicans have never conducted black voter outreach. That's not what I'm saying. They have occasionally, sometimes, a few times, organized black voter programs and recruited black surrogates and appeared at black churches and tried to increase their support among black men. But those efforts have generally been limited, very limited, and inconsistent at best, and far less developed than the Democrat Party's permanent political pandering operation inside the black community. Somebody type catfish in the chat room. Somebody type fried chicken in the chat room. Somebody type chicken plate in the somebody type black church in the chat room. Okay. And Republicans don't normally spend months telling black voters how indispensable they are because history tells them that they aren't going to receive any overwhelming black support anyway. Okay, and with Republicans, the message is usually more direct. This is what we believe. This is what we intend to do. And you can either support it or reject it. And they'll throw plenty of red meat to their conservative base. They will go, they're undoubtedly people within that base who hold deep racist views. And all the Republicans in the chat room, you better agree. Don't lie to me. Okay, you know you have that uncle. Okay, that uncle and that grandpa and that grandma, for whatever reason, she didn't like it when you brought your college friend home from college. And she didn't say much, but you can tell by the eyes. Now, again, America's always had that racist element, and neither the passage of time nor the election of a black official has eliminated that. Racism isn't disappearing because somebody delivers a beautiful speech and puts a black face in campaign or advertisement or announces another diversity initiative, where you see a bunch of biracial relatives, family members on the milk carton. That's not how it works. Okay, as I told you guys many times, racism in this country is like the weather. It's not going anywhere, and it's gonna always be here. Okay, and there's a party that caters to that contingent. Okay, it's not disappearing. Period. It's part of the country's history, and it continues to influence competition over jobs, neighborhoods, schools, public resources, political power, and wealth. Nevertheless, racism isn't the only question I consider when I'm entering the voting booth, because truth be told, liberals/Democrats are just as racist as the Republicans, if not more. They just exercise what I call a parental racism. They think black people aren't intelligent enough to know what they're doing anyway, and so therefore we need to tell them what to do. So that in itself is embedded racism. Nevertheless, the practical question is whether the candidate's policies serve my interests. Somebody type vote your interest in the chat room. Okay, that's it. I'm not looking for a political party who loves me. I don't expect politicians to become my friends and invite me to dinner. I don't want to go have a beer with them or understand, and they don't even need to understand every part of the black experience. I expect them to tell me what they intend to do and then decide whether those policies and that platform help me or hurt me, and help my family or hurt my family, help my business or hurt my business, help my community or hurt my community. And a politician is going to smile at you. They're going to kiss that ugly baby of yours if you're anywhere near. They're going to praise your history. They're going to attend your little church, right? You see? While supporting policies that actually work against your interests. And that's the problem. And another politician may never visit your neighborhood, but support taxes, low taxes, or business, or education, or public safety, or immigration policies that you benefit from. And that's why I tell people to vote your interest. Everybody in the chat room listening to me, type vote your interest in the chat room, because I wanted to be absolutely certain I'm not advocating Democrat, Republican, I'm none of that. I tell you all to vote your interest, okay? And I vote mine, and you should carefully identify yours and vote your interest. And you know, here's the thing: vote your interest may lead you to a different conclusion than mine. All right, let me give you an example, just so I can drive the point home, because you know, Uncle D is fair and balanced. Somebody type fair and balanced. Okay, I'm not gonna say I invented that slogan, but I like it, so I'm gonna co-opt it. Okay, just like kinder, gentler. Here I am on Al Gore's internet, you know, with all these people watching me. So I want to present my views as fair and balanced. But the bottom line is, if you vote your interest, for instance, if you're a public school teacher protected by a strong union, it may be in your interest to vote for the Democrat candidates who are more likely to support organized labor or collective bargaining and increase public school funding. All right. It would be smart for you to vote Democrat, especially on the local level. If you're a small business employee, or you employ several people, and you're worried about taxes and regulations and energy costs and expense of keeping your doors open, you may decide that the Republican economic policies better serve you. All right? And that doesn't automatically make the teacher a socialist, and it doesn't make the business owner a selfish, racist dude or woman. It means each person is examining how public policy affects the life he or she is actually living. Okay, and that same analysis applies to immigration. If you live near the southern border, all my people down on the border in Texas and Arizona and California and New Mexico, immigration policy isn't an abstract debate taking place on the television. Okay, it affects hospitals, schools, law enforcement. It affects housing. It affects traffic, wages, social security, social services, the daily operation of community. Okay, and if you live in Chicago and New York and Washington, D.C., or another city that has experienced large numbers of recent migrant arrivals, right? In other words, the good governor of Texas decided to bust a bunch of people to Chicago, New York, and Washington, D.C. to spread the pain around. Now you understand, okay? You reasonably ask what those arrivals cost, where the money came from, and whether local residents were forced to compete for limited public resources, okay? And so, in other words, what I'm saying is, if we get another border rush like we had under the Biden program, you can expect that the good our good governor down here is going to ship all those people up north, okay, and back east and out in the Midwest. It doesn't mean that every immigrant is dangerous or every immigrant is responsible for the decisions made by politicians. That's not what I'm saying. It means voters have a right to examine the financial and social consequences of those decisions. If border control is one of your highest priorities, your interests probably align more closely with the party promising stronger enforcement. Okay, in other words, whoever's going to keep the Marine Corps on the southern border and going to keep the Navy patrolling the Gulf of Mexico. I'm sorry, Gulf of America. Somebody type Gulf of America, and in the California coast. Okay, they are letting them have it. And you also probably going to support faster removals, right? More. Somebody type ICE in the chat room. Go ahead and put the ICE hotline in the chat room. And also, it's going to be a tighter asylum rules. All right, stay in the first available country. Don't come here. Don't pass up 4 or 5 countries just to come here and ask for asylum. Stay in Mexico. All right, and bottom line is you're going to support the party who's down with fewer illegal entries. And Republicans have generally placed enforcement and restriction at the center of their immigration message, while Democrats have busted doors wide open. Okay, they got a double door and it's wide open. You can run a freight train through there. All right, they have generally supported broader legal pathways and different enforcement priorities. Though there's a disagreement with both parties, elections have consequences. That's the thing we need to understand. And different administrations govern differently on immigration, and voters should stop pretending those differences don't exist. And the same rule applies to every other major issue. If baby deletion is your leading concern, you got to vote based on that. If gun rights are your priority, you have to examine the candidate's records. If your greatest concern is health care or union protection, taxes, crime, education, immigration, religious liberty, or the cost of operating a business, determine which policies serve you best. Don't allow your pastor to do it. Hallelujah. Okay? Don't allow your favorite celebrity to do it, or your political commentator, or your fraternity brother. 06. Okay? Or your sorority sister, or your family member. You understand? Don't let anybody do any thinking for you. I don't vote based on which party says the nicest things to me, about me, or to black people in general. Compliments don't pay the bills, or lower taxes, or secure neighborhoods, or educate my children, or protect businesses, or a generational wealth. I don't assume that every Republican is my enemy, or that every Democrat is smiling in my face is my friend. And that kind of thinking turns citizens into political property. I examine the proposals, calculate the likely results, and decide whether they advance my interests. Look, as I said earlier, you can't limit yourself to just voting for the party that you think is less racist. All right? You need to confront it wherever it appears, but calling somebody a racist doesn't answer the political question. Sometimes the politician accusing everyone else of racism is actually the one supporting policies that damage the black community in the first place. And sometimes the politicians you don't personally like, right? Somebody type Trump, you don't like him, okay? But the policies actually benefit you and your family. Look, politics requires adults to examine the uncomfortable facts instead of reacting to slogans. And that's the difference between voting emotionally and voting strategically. Again, I'm not asking any of you to become Republicans. I'm not asking you to not remain Democrats, because I know who I'm talking to. I know most of you black folk are Democrats, and I know everybody else is out there. All right. We got the 92% and the 79% that basically voted against their interests, okay, and voted for Kamala Harris, who was about to allow the floodgates of the southern border to be open, which is going to be inundated with immigrants. They had another 8 million up here. But here's what I'm saying, okay? I'm telling you to stop allowing either political party to own your vote without earning it, and determine what makes you identify which policies move you closer to your goals, and then you vote accordingly. And that's what political maturity looks like. Now, that being the case, somebody type pandering in the chat room. Somebody type it's pander season in the chat room, because that's what it is. It's pander season. And I have a couple of videos I want to share with you all, because I think it just kind of lays the foundation of where we're coming from. You guys make sure y'all hit the #1 button. All right. So let's go ahead and get these videos playing. You guys hit the #1 button, and we will continue here. I got a couple of videos. Shout out to everybody in the chat room. And as I always say, if you learn something, I should earn something. But the most important thing is I need you all to do for me is hit the subscribe button. If you haven't hit the subscribe button now, hit the subscribe button now. Don't play me. Don't do me dirty. Okay? Let's not be like that to each other. You can hit the subscribe button. It's free. I know you don't have money. Eggs are high. Gas is high. Okay? That water bill keeps showing up every month. Every month. You paid it, just paid it last month. It came back again. That water bill came back again. You've been paying it. Same thing with the gas bill. I know. All that costs money. Subscribing to my channel doesn't cost any money. It's free. It's free like government cheese. Okay? It's free like that big block of government cheese that your mama and your grandma used to eat off of when you was a little boy and a little girl. Okay? All right? So don't be like that. Don't be ugly. Somebody type government cheese in the chat room. Somebody type USDA in the chat room. You know what I'm talking about. I know you know. But anyway, let's go ahead and take a look at a couple of these videos. Y'all hit the #1 button. Let's keep it cracking.
That said, I miss when the worst thing my president did was wear a tan suit. And I was like, I know they're not talking about Obama. You know, the guy who bombed 7 countries at once. The guy who bombed Libya without congressional approval, leading to the slave markets we see there today. The guy who between 2009 and 2016 sent Israel $20 billion and promised before leaving office in 2016 another $30 billion over the next 10 years.
Now, I know she's talking real fast, okay? I know she's talking fast, and I know you all can't hear. I barely can hear it too. But let's just be honest with each other. We know the only reason you're looking at her, okay, because, I mean, how many of y'all are paying attention to what she says? I'm going to tell you what she says, okay? But how many of you all are really paying attention to what she says, okay? What are we really looking at? Fellas, some of you ladies too. So, some of you special ladies, somebody type special ladies. Some of you special ladies are looking too, okay? All right? But I'm just saying, we know why we're looking. All right? We know why we're looking at her, and she knows why we're looking at her. She could have done this in a burqa. She could have covered all this up to the neck. She could have just been real tight, but she didn't. All right? But I want y'all to get the lesson. She talked about Obama being a hypocrite and so on and so forth. Okay? And just another example of the Democrats. Okay? Again, vote your interest. I'm not, shout out to Blue Baggins, by the way. I don't tell you what to do. Not here to tell you what to do. Okay, but I don't want y'all to look below her neckline. Anybody who looks below this lady's neckline, okay, will be instantaneously barred forever from my broadcast. Instantaneous, because we don't allow people to distract us from our serious politics. Nothing. Okay. I need to get me some milk for my coffee. That's what I need to do. Somebody type milk in the chat room.
Israel even boasted in 2016 that the U.S. footed the bill for most of the production costs of the Iron Dome. He also increased the immigration enforcement budget every year he was in office. He expanded the U.S. surveillance state. He left Flint, Michigan hanging. He failed to get Guantanamo closed. And he's the only Nobel Peace Prize winner to have bombed another Nobel Peace Prize winner. He bombed the Doctors Without Borders hospital in 2015 in Afghanistan.
Basically, what she said is Obama is a Nobel Peace Prize winner, and he's the only Nobel Peace Prize winner who bombed another Nobel Peace Prize winner. He's the reason that we have all the slave markets in Afghanistan, in Libya, where they bombed and destabilized and not got rid of their former leader, who they had some disagreements with. Okay, that's what she's saying. That's what she's saying.
And some would argue that his biggest accomplishment was healthcare tied to your employer. And if you're thinking, so what? The man built a shrine to himself. Well, the construction of the Obama Center raised local rents, further pushing out black residents, the people that got him where he needed to be. Barack Obama is simply a war criminal with very good PR, very good style, and a good taste in music. And I'll be the first one to admit, I drank the Obama Kool-Aid for a very long time. Then my frontal lobe developed. This black faces in high places thing shouldn't be fooling anyone anymore. Okay. It is certainly not fooling me. Anyway.
Okay, all right. She said she's in
one of the many cameras I pass every day. I call it surveillance state of mind.
Surveillance
He's
state
a
of
worker
mind.
now.
Very
The other day I saw a post.
All right, she just talked too fast. She's talking too fast. But she made some good points. She basically pointed out how the Democrats always try to make it seem like the Republicans are the bad guys, but the Democrats do their own fair share of dirt also. That's what she said. Okay. That's what I gathered from her post, her video. And so let's move on to the next broadcast. Let's move on to the next one and let's see what else. But again, these are all black people. And what you see here happen is black people are beginning to recognize the pandering. Okay. They're recognizing the pandering and the roles are reversed and people are getting tired of it, tired of getting played. Let's keep listening.
To you about the 14th Amendment and birthright citizenship.
I could go to her page and watch the rest of that damn video. I'm not back to play that long ass rant of bullshit. I usually try to be respectful to my elders.
I just want y'all to know this little lady right here is one of my favorites. She has been letting them have it for at least 2 years. So y'all go, I think her name is Pretty the Realist. Y'all can go check her out. She's making her ways on Instagram and different podcasts. So I like her. So listen to what the little lady, I think she's from the Midwest. I don't know if it's Chicago or Indiana. I'm not sure, but listen to this very common sense statement that she's making in response to this lady, the liberal lady. So you complaining. Okay, let's keep listening.
So I'm going to try real hard not to call you a dumb bitch, because this was a dumb bitch take.
Family friendly.
Not calling you one, but this is really what it is. I've seen her videos on here a couple of times, saw you tap dancing for white liberals, talking about that they're trying to make them handmaidens' tales, and because they're dying at record numbers that are administered.
So basically what she's saying is, along with telling black people all the Republicans are racist, and this is, we're going to go back to racism everywhere. She's also saying, see, the Republicans are sexist. They want to turn you back into, turn women, put them back pregnant and barefoot in the kitchen. Okay, so that's the racism, sexism, double play. Okay, high low. All right, so this is the pandering. All right, remember it's pandering season, and so this is the games that they run on white liberal women. Let's keep listening.
Administration that's currently in position is going to force them to have more babies to keep the white gene alive, to keep white people alive. It's so weird to me.
Let me tell y'all something. Did you all know that white people have tremendously increased their birth rate? And by 2028, they're going to have the highest percentage of births per capita. White people have turned it around. Shout out to all the white people. White dudes, y'all have done it. Okay, this is a recent stat. I'm gonna do a broadcast about white. Like y'all turn that ship around immediately. Y'all got them back in the kitchen, barefoot and pregnant. How did you do it? Y'all should write a book. How did the white men have got these women by 2028? They're gonna have the highest percentage of births. They're gonna have the highest percentage of births of any per capita of any other group. That is amazing to me. You understand what I'm saying? That is, they just turn that thing right around. Baby deletions be damned. You see? So let's keep going.
Because you're soft shoe tap dancing for the same women who told our women. Because see, me and you, well, I don't know how old you are. I'm quite sure that you're not childbearing age. And I'm not trying to have none right now. We're okay with telling our women it's okay for you to take your kids out. Just go ahead and let them suck it out of your body. And we'll just go ahead and just call it, reproductive rights. Why are you so concerned about birthright citizenship? You can prove who your mother is, your grandmother, your great-grandmother. You could prove that they are actually United States citizens. Why do you give a damn so much? Because
So again, the first thing she's addressing is like, why are black people concerned about baby deletions? That policy has not been good for black people. We have more baby deletions per capita than any other group of people. About a third of black people are missing because of baby deletions. Has that policy been good for black people? In other words, the Democrats have convinced us it has been, but generally speaking, it has not been, and I think that's an example. And then the next example she's going to go into, she's going to talk about the 14th Amendment. Okay, so the 14th Amendment is something that should concern. Our 14th, the effect of our 14th Amendment went down back in 1868 when it was passed. So we became citizens at that point, and that was a reward for us learning our earning our citizenship. We were war fighters. We built this country through forced labor. We did everything we were supposed to do, okay, to earn it. Unlike every other group who was given to, we actually had to earn our birthright citizenship. Anyway, so this is what she's going to go into. Again, these are policies that affect other people that have nothing to do with foundational Black Americans, and yet we get behind them because for whatever reason, and it doesn't serve our interests at all. Does it serve the interest of having a bunch of people be able to come over here and have children and then anchor themselves to the country through that baby? It creates more competition for us, less housing availability, less job availability. The studies show that an influx of low-wage, low-skill immigrants brings down the wages of Black people, the most affected group of Black people, Black men especially. So what interest does that serve of us? Again, that's why I tell you, vote your interest. But let's continue listening to this lady.
You don't have nothing else to do with your time, but you just want to be a part of the conversation. The matter is that, we don't care about legal immigration. We didn't really care about illegal immigration up until recently. You voted to keep the borders open, and now we have any and everybody that's here having a bunch of babies. They may be considered American citizens if their parents are not, and they end up getting deported because they may do some dumb shit. They may commit a crime. They get deported. Who's going to take care of that child? Where's that child going to go? The thing is that Democrats made birthright citizenship so messy, it does come off as being discrimination. Truthfully, it should be more safer for a child to be born to an American citizen and not somebody who came over here illegally. Somebody who remains illegal, don't even care to even learn to speak the language. Getting all of the benefits that American citizens deserve to get because they drop a baby off in America. Go to any other country, that's not going to happen. You're going to fill out a whole bunch of paperwork. You're going to have to go through a whole lot of processes, even be considered an American citizen. The only country that have been okay with people breaking the law to come over here, they get a graduation to be an American citizen without even becoming an American citizen. Then you have the nerve to speak about the ancestors, talk about them, because it's obvious that you're not doing them any.
She is letting them have it. She is letting them have it. Go ahead, baby. Pretty the realest. Go ahead. I like what she's saying. Again, I'm not telling you who to vote for. I'm telling you to vote your interest. All right. Somebody type vote your interest in the chat room.
Justice. They didn't fight for everybody and their damn mama, daddy, uncle, cousin to come over here. Or for us to be considered citizens, not everybody else. The thing that they died and fought for is being used by everybody else but us. Anti-discrimination rights, those are going to be out the window. Anti-discrimination, whatever the fuck that means, are going to be who they are. Even though that there's laws against lynching, anti-lynching laws, considering that's the only anti-hate bill that Black Americans seem to have gotten, since we're the only ones that appear to be getting lynched in this country. They're still lynching niggas. So obviously that's not working out. Just amazing to me, because y'all don't say nothing about the young girls and the young boys who have went missing because of those borders being open. Don't speak on nothing that's going on when it comes to people who seem to still not be able to find a job.
Again, I don't understand how, as a grown American, you could be okay with the party that allows people who come up here and do harmful things to young girls and women. I don't understand that. I wouldn't. I had to vote for Trump last time because under Biden's border policy, it was just wide open. You know, you had little girls like Lake and Riley. Every other week, it seemed like we were hearing a story about a young woman being taken advantage of by some illegal immigrants from Venezuela or somewhere else. And so, you know, how can you as an American citizen think that it is acceptable to vote for the party who promotes that? And then when you confront them on it, they'll say, oh, well, we have our own criminals here. Or they'll say, well, illegal immigrants don't commit any more crimes than the local criminals that we have here. Yeah, I get that. Cool for now. But if you keep opening the floodgates up, clearly they're going to be a higher percentage of people doing bad things, people from overseas and other countries doing bad things to American individuals. It just, the numbers dictate that. You see, the numbers dictate that. So, you know, I just couldn't do it. I could not vote for a Democrat. I had to vote for Trump because he was the only one promising to shut the border down. And I think that's just common sense. And that is me voting my interest. Somebody type VYT in the chat room, vote your interest. You're going to let Pretty the realist
but yet they could look up and everybody that they're seeing working does not even speak the American language. Speak on the housing crisis and all of those things that are going on. Everything that's going on right now is because of the administration that you stood for. You're still standing with. You bought your lying ass on here and you want us to sit here and make it seem as if you were once a Trump supporter. Let me stop, because I don't want to cuss you out. I'm trying to be cool because you are elder. Stop. You women are part of the problem. I swear y'all are. The same type of women who will probably sit by and let somebody in your family get molested by someone that you know or a family member because it's bad for your image. You won't say nothing about it. That's exactly what's happening with America. We're being molested along the side, talking about it instead of doing anything about it. Yeah. You don't stand for us. You don't stand for our ancestors. You don't stand for our country. So don't talk about us.
And I mean, that's pretty much the sentiment. I think Americans, Black Americans, are tired of that. And, you know, we recognize that a lot of Black people who just show up out of nowhere, they're basically used by the Democrat Party to pander to Black people, and it's not going to work anymore. So anyway, let's go move on to the next video, and we will continue forth with this broadcast. I hope you all appreciate this. We're just getting started, and I know you all appreciate, somebody said paid actors. I hope you all appreciate the work that I'm doing here to try to educate you, be funny, and hopefully you learn something. Somebody type learn something in the chat room. Let's keep going.
Jump on my page to talk politics is going to understand that 90% of the Black population is Democrats. 90% of the Black people are on a Democrat plantation. They are Democrat donkeys. So of course it's going to look like you hate your own people. All you do is talk about Black people. Duh. 90% of y'all are Democrats, and I'm the hee-haw killer.
So what's happened is becoming black has become synonymous with voting with the Democrat Party. It's a racial identity. It's the biggest trick that any political party has ever played on black people in this country. We have become, you are not authentically black. You are not down with black people unless you absolutely vote Democrat across the board. And so that is a psychological mind trick that they played on black people. They send people to your neighborhood, they eat your fried chicken, you know, they help you clean your chitlins, they wash their greens in the tub, right? And because of that, you think, oh, these people identify with me, so they must be down for me. And it's all a lie. You've been lied to. And I know nobody else is willing to tell you that, black people. The Democrat Party has lied to you. They don't like you. If they liked you, they would stop putting everybody else in front of you. They don't like you. You understand? And I know it's hard to hear, okay, because your grandma was a Democrat, your granddaddy was a Democrat, your mama was a Democrat, everybody's a Democrat, but they don't like you. If you know a person likes you by the things they do for you, what have they done for you? They've given you degeneracy, right? They've sold it in the black community as authentically black. They've stripped your communities of the resources that you need. They filled it up with people from overseas who don't like you either. I'm just saying, I'm not saying vote Republican. I'm saying vote your interests. Now, this is our fault because we've been blindly loyal to these people for 40, 60 years, whatever. All right, but they don't like you. And it's not being boule or a sellout for telling you that somebody don't like you. They don't like you. If they liked you, they would have treated you better. Have the Democrats treated you well? Some black people get a few set aside. You got a little contract, little government set aside, a little affirmative action. Most black people don't get anything. You see? It seems like the loudest mouths are the ones who get the most free stuff. But the average black person does not derive any benefit from the policies of the Democrat Party, especially successful black people. All you do is pay high taxes and try not to get shot in your black community because they don't want any police. Let this brother finish.
Whoa, 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 yeah! Finish. Yeah, that's me. All the W.E.B. Du Bois, all of that Al Sharptons and the Kamalas and the Jasmine Crockett's and all the liars, the D.L. Hewleys, the Roland Martins, they all Democrat donkeys. No, I don't like them. I don't give a fuck they black. And I gotta just start telling y'all why. Are Democrat donkeys.
Hold on, I apologize. They cussing a lot. They are angry with the politics. Somebody type angry politics in the chat. It's a lot of profanity this morning, okay, or this evening, wherever you are. Somebody type family friendly. I want YouTube to know that this is a family-friendly broadcast. Okay, we don't have all that profanity here. Family-friendly. And if you say family-friendly enough, then YouTube will continue to monetize this channel because as long as they out here using these MFs and SOBs and BITC H's and all that, then they're going to try to demonetize my channel. And I don't want that. Okay? I don't want that because y'all, I'm just saying, y'all ain't gonna help me pay for my coffee. Okay, my little Starbucks cup of coffee. All right, so I need YouTube to keep the commercials running. Now, y'all probably seen 10, 15 commercials since this broadcast started. That's good. You need to watch that commercial. Pay for the premium plan. Me and YouTube want y'all to pay for the premium plan, and then you won't see any commercials. But anyway, we're gonna let this family-friendly broadcast continue. Family friendly.
Democrat donkeys. No, I don't like them. I don't give a fuck they black.
Family friendly.
And I gotta just start telling y'all why. Like, boom. Bill Clinton.
Oh, what'd he do?
94 crime bill. We ain't even gonna get it in that. You signed that.
I remember
that. Shit fucked us over.
Family
the
friendly.
Black people. You knew it because you apologized for it. You said that was one of the worst things you ever did. Was sign the 94 crime bill.
It was bad.
Next thing you did. You denied Farrakhan ability to take care of the black community. You said you stopped it because of the sanctions on Libya and the terrorists. So you blocked it.
I remember that.
These are the things. That's why I don't fuck with this side. You
Family
blocked
friendly.
$1 billion that was going to come to the black community, right? Then Obama,
What do you do?
you gets in. You denounce Farrakhan. No
Even though
go.
they got- Look, I want you to understand that Barack Obama went and begged Farrakhan for his approval, okay, while he was running for senator of Illinois, okay, or I don't know if it was a congressional seat or senator. Begged the man for his approval, right? And then Farrakhan, all those years, never showed anybody this photograph, pretend like he didn't know him, just so he could get elected. Isn't that something? Old slick Barack Obama. You understand what I'm saying? I just want you to think about how slick he is. All right, but you know, but anyway, then he denounced him after he used him. All right, let's keep listening.
He understood it. Go ahead, do your thing. You denounce Farrakhan. What did you turn around and do to Gaddafi? You know what I'm saying? All this is Democrat donkey shit. The same guy who, under your administration, FBI raided the bounty on the side of Shakur. Same thing, under your administration. You let them indict Jesse Jackson Jr.
Yep.
You could have pulled strings, the same strings that Trump pulled to get Mayor.
I want you to understand. Remember, y'all remember when Jesse Jackson had those choice words for Barack Obama? You remember that? And then Barack Obama has the nerve to show up at Jesse Jackson's funeral. And you saw Jesse Jackson Jr. said, "We're not going to turn this into politics." You sat yourself there after you indicted me. You got the nerve to come to my daddy's funeral, right? And sit your sad self in the front seat, front row, smiling and kikiing and cockeying like we friends. Under your Department of Justice, they indicted Jesse Jackson. I want you to think about that. Just think about the nerve. I'd have had the ushers put him out. Mr. President, you in the Secret Service, you got to go. Go on, get on up out here. Y'all got to go. No, you're not welcome here. No, I'd have got the drunk uncle to go down there. Man, we need to get you up out of here, man. No. My brother didn't want you here, man. You got to go, man. No, come on now. I'd have got Pookie and them. Get him on out of here. That's why you need your Pookie, man. You got to get on out. Go on to your cars. Get on out of here. He'd had to get up out of here. President, the story would have been all on TikTok. Jesse Jackson Jr. puts Barack Obama out of his Jesse Jackson's funeral. You got to go, man. Chris Tucker, tell him to get up out of here, man. Put me in, indict me, man. He got out of there. You ain't coming to my funeral. You won't be at my daddy's funeral. But anyway, let's keep listening.
Adams out of that shit. You could have pulled strings, but you didn't. You ain't pardoned Jack Johnson. Simple shit. Yeah. You could have pardoned him, but you know who did? Trump. This is all the sucker shit of the Democrat donkeys and the black people that's on the Democrat donkey side.
Look, man, I'm gonna tell you something, man. Trump is the president that I thought Barack Obama was gonna be. Okay, if we just strip the color away and we look at all the stuff that Trump did, okay. I mean, the most controversial thing that Barack Obama did was wear a tan suit. Now let's think about Trump. He in there talking about grabbing people by the coochie. He getting sex charges. He got a side chick. He got 3 baby mamas. Let me see what else, man. Breaking laws everywhere. He just poor English. Just English is horrible. You see what I mean? He like gold on all this stuff, man. He does everything that we thought a black president would do. If Barack Obama was doing the stuff that Trump was doing, nobody would be surprised. Like, well, he's black. This is who we elected. Trump is the most ignorant black. I mean, he's not even black. He's straight. He's the N-word. I'm just put it out there. Trump is every stereotypical N-word. He eat McDonald's every day. You know what I'm saying? He do what he want to. He always talking about a party. The man literally tore down half the White House so he can put up a ballroom so he can have better party. The man had UFC MMA fight on the front lawn. Doesn't that sound like some ignorant black dude to do if he got power? I'm just listening. I know we shouldn't stereotype, but I'm just saying, Trump is the black president we thought Barack Obama would be. Y'all can argue with me if you want to. You can argue with me if you want to, but I'm just saying that's how I feel. Let's keep going.
Y'all think I be bugging. Y'all just don't be paying attention. Y'all just say regurgitated shit that y'all heard over the years. But I'm giving you of why I don't like them, and it's documented facts of why I don't like them.
Ghetto gospel. Shout out to Gospel Ghetto Gospel. Fair use. But anyway, so black people are beginning to push back on this Democratic plantation. They're not really feeling this thing anymore. You see? And of course, you guys know Stephen A. Smith, and I'll let this play right here. You check this out. This is what he said.
One election that every black person would vote Republican. What? How can you say that? I said, it's simple. Since 1964, the black folks, we have been giving our vote to the Democratic Party at an exorbitant rate. Okay. Therefore, they know they got our vote, and they don't have to cater to us as much as we need them to. The Republicans know they'll never get our vote, so they don't give a damn about us. And as a result, we're the only community in America devoid of representation, which is why we're considered disenfranchised. I'm tired of that. What I want is to put ourselves as a community in a position where both parties have to work to get our vote.
Can I ask you this? Do you think you covering politics?
Now, what's wrong with what he said? What is wrong with what he said? Both parties should have to work hard to hear our vote. Is there anything wrong with that? Right? And as a caveat to my last statement about Trump, let me just point out the fact that I'm well aware that the ballroom also has a bunker below it. And it's several feet into the ground, and it's going to be used as basically a command center in case of an emergency. I'm well aware of that. Now, some people may take the opportunity to say, well, you didn't mention this, you didn't mention that. Well, how many hours would you like me to be on here? Okay, how many hours? Would you want me to go over each and every fact every day? Right? So again, sometimes, as we say here, what's understood don't need to be said. Okay, and it's not that I necessarily don't acknowledge the fact that it's a ballroom at the top and a bunker at the bottom. It's just the fact that we have to move on. That's not the subject matter for today. Okay, so all of you all who want to correct and spell check and so on and so forth, just understand you need to get your panties, okay, out your butt crack. Okay, you're a little tight this month, too tight. Get you some coffee, do a little yoga, a little downward dog, calm down. Somebody type calm down in the chat room. Somebody type calm down in the chat room. I want everybody to type calm down. Stop looking for reasons to disagree. Stop being unnecessarily disagreeable. All right, I'm just saying. Okay, calm down. Calm down. You probably got, your little, just calm down. I'm a kinder, gentler Uncle D. Cause see, if I wasn't, I'd be like, yeah, you need to get them skid marks out your panties because they way up in your butt crack, got you feeling tight and angry with yourself. But I'm not gonna say that. Okay, I'm just gonna say calm down to anybody who wants me to go over each and every fact every day. I'm not gonna do it every day. Okay, but back to the point. Asking parties to vote to earn your vote, I don't think there's anything wrong with that, especially foundational Black America. Hell, we had to earn our citizenship through war fighting. We had to earn our citizenship through free labor and pretty much everything else involved in helping this country be what it is. So I don't think it's a problem for us to force people to earn our vote. Somebody type vote your interest in the chat room.
Like you cover politics, in the words of your mans, is that good for business, your business?
It has the potential not to be.
Yeah.
We'll have to see. So far it is. I think I'm doing pretty good. So far it is. but it has the potential not to be. But here's the point. Cam, if I thought like that, I'd never be here.
Right.
There's plenty of decisions over the years I could have made that would have been good for business.
Let me explain something. So I want you all to understand what's going on now. Sports is not, first of all, Donald Trump is the biggest rapper on the planet. He's the biggest entertainer on the planet right now. He has the whole world's attention. For the past 4, 8, 12, I'm going to say 14 years, Donald Trump and his tweets and his social media posts and what he says has dominated the press. He's big business. Trump has successfully changed the conversation of America and the world to politics. Now, what you could notice that during the era of Kevin Samuels, relationships were the big deal, right? The podcasters who focused on relationships were having hundreds of thousands of views, millions of views. But what you see now is the ones who talk about politics, what's really going on in the world, are the ones who are making business. I never talked about relationships. That's not what I do. I pretty much figure like people just, you do whatever you like to do. Okay, do whatever you like. You like midgets, and go ahead and get you a midget. Okay, I don't tell people what to do with their relationship. I tell men, don't cheat on your wives and don't cheat on your girlfriends. That's what I tell them. But as far as pretty much, I don't get into people's I tell people to, invest in their children. That's what I tell people. But as far as relationships, that's the extent. And so with Stephen A. Smith and everybody else, whether we talk about Nicki Minaj, Stephen A. Smith, everybody understands that the money is in educating people on what's going on in the world. Political wise, people are concerned about their money. They're concerned about the economy. America is becoming a lot more mature when it comes to that. Even sports used to be the center of attention. We used to talk about, let's say, entertainment. We used to talk about sports entertainment. Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, pick one. Joe Montana, whoever your favorite quarterback is. We used to talk about those guys. Now we talk about Trump. This is what's on people's mind, okay? So that being the case, all these people are transitioning over. They realize talking about sports is not something people are interested, just like Harley Davidsons. A lot of people aren't necessarily interested in Harleys anymore. A lot of people aren't necessarily interested in who won this football game and who won that football, especially since we've been inundated with social media. It's hard to get some of these people from these younger generations to sit down for 3 hours and watch a football game. They'll watch the highlights, okay? But they're not. And as far as boxing, it's taking too long. And that's why you see the rise of MMA. Attention spans have gotten shorter, okay? Shout out to Kyle Morton. And so it's very difficult to convince people that, they just don't have the time for it. They got 3 jobs, working part-time in 4 different places. They got a side hustle. Some of these ladies got sugar daddies. Some of these dudes got sugar mamas. They don't have time to spend that type of time on Saturday and Sunday watching these games. So that's what Stephen A. Smith is showing you. Politics is the new entertainment, and we like it, But let's keep listening.
But I had the courage to tackle the issues that I felt passionate enough to attack. That's what makes me me.
I did some polls and realized that these people want me to talk about this, so I had the courage to go ahead and keep lying in my pockets, man. I ain't mad at him. Shout out to Stephen A. Smith and all the Q dogs watching this morning. Now let's keep watching this broadcast and let's watch some more videos and do some more commentary. You guys make sure if you have not subscribed to the channel, you subscribe to the channel. I like this little lady. She does these skits. I got a couple of them. Check this out.
Oh, I uses them to clean the windows, sir. You thought I was reading these fancy papers? Oh, no, sir. I know you's got to tell me how to think, sir. I knows better not to read this. And I remember you told me if I don't do what you told me to do, that means I ain't black. And I was just as black as the day is long, sir. Yes.
And see, there was a time when voting for a Republican or not voting for the Democrat Party was considered being a sellout because, again, the Black American population has been tricked into wrapping our identity as a people into a party affiliation. It is a trick. It's like having us wrap our identity into gangsterism or weed smoking. Okay, there was a time if a black person walked down the street in Miami, they would say, "Hey, you got the weed." They would just assume you have weed because weed was synonymous with blackness. Okay, and the same thing goes for Democrat Party. It's a big trick, and so now black people are saying, "No, the real sellouts are the ones that keep voting for these policies that they're using to undermine black wealth, black success, etc." So this is this humorous little lady taking it to that extreme, and I just find it quite interesting. You all keep listening, but that's the context.
Indeed. You've been using them words we taught you. Oh, yes, sir. I uses them words loud, proud, and strong. Anytime one of them highfalutin Negroes come around here telling me to read some kind of fancy paper for myself, I calls them coon and bootlickers. I sure do, sir. And the rest of them around this plantation, they've been saying another word. They said sellout. I know you ain't teach it to me, sir, but it sounded awful fancy, so I decided to use it for myself.
Yeah, somebody type boom, bootlicker, what do they call it? Coon, bootlicker, boule, seller. Type those words in the chat room. I'm gonna show you just how much effect they have. Somebody type those words. Everybody type boule, coon, sellout. Type those words in the chat room. Go ahead and type it. Okay, I see it coming up. All right. Now, again, does that affect your 401k? Somebody calling you a sellout. Does somebody calling you boule stop you from being able to pay for your child's school tuition? Okay. Does that stop you from being able to them calling you a house Negro, right? Because of the party you choose to vote for? Does that stop you from ordering the supplies for your business? You see what I'm saying? But again, this is a trick, and black people are growing out of that trick. We are maturing past that trick. It's not going to work anymore. And I predict that over the next 20, 30 years, you're going to have a lot more people, black people, voting their interests, which is going to translate to people voting less for Democrat parties. You see? It's going to translate to black people, instead of being 90%, they're going to vote their interests, which means it's probably going to break the same way you see. You might have a lot of women voting Republican. Probably, it's probably always going to be more women voting Democrat, but you're going to have a lot of more black women voting Republican. Same thing. You're going to probably have a lot more black men voting Republican because, that serves their interests. They're voting their interests. But I'm glad to see black people waking up. Again, I don't tell you what to do. Don't ever come to my page or go anywhere else saying Dennis Spurling told you who to vote for. That's not what I do. I tell you, vote your interest. I vote my interest. I vote Republican. I vote Democrat, depending. Okay? That's all I'm asking you to do is be mature with your vote, make them earn it. And hell, if neither party earns it, the couch is always available. Let's keep listening.
I got some new words. Oh, yes, sir. I was learning real good. What is this, sir? It's dictator, fascist, and Nazi. Oh, okay. Dictator, fascist, Nazi. Okay, sir. Right. Those sound awful fancy, sir. What they mean? Don't matter what they mean. You right, sir. Pardon. I get ahead of myself. I know I shouldn't have asked you nothing. I know that you tell me what's best, sir. Don't matter what they mean. Just matters that you told me to say them, and I got to learn them real good. Yes, sir. You got them leftovers? Oh, yes, sir. We got them leftovers. We sure mighty obliged for them, sir. Yeah, Overseer Crockett, Overseer Obama, and Overseer Waters told us you sent them, sir.
Now, she said something very peculiar, and I don't want to get off on a tangent, but did you know that a large percentage of the overseers in the Southern plantations were black? Did you all know that? It wasn't white men. It was black men that they had out there making sure all the other black people were. So when she says Obama, Crockett, and Walters, she's talking about those various former president and two congresswomen. So I just find that very interesting. That's very, very, very interesting. Okay, that she notes that. Let's keep listening.
Wouldn't be able to get by without your handouts and your program, so we can't do it on our own. And they make sure they remind us of that. So yes, indeed, they do. We got some more leftovers coming. What on the first? Oh, thank you, sir. Oh, thank you, sir. Because they even told us, they talking about we got to get some identification, and we knows we can't do that on our own. We not smart enough. We need you, sir.
In other words, a vast majority of Black people support basically showing identification when you vote. I think that makes sense. I mean, you have to show identification to get on an airplane. You have to show identification to cash a check. You have to show identification pretty much at the bank. So why not force people to show identification when they're voting? You see, I think that's very important. And it just makes sense to me. And here's the thing. If you're not competent enough to get identification, how are you able to figure out which people are best to run your country or your city or your neighborhood? I mean, that is not what our ancestors had to deal with, right? That is not a civil rights issue, in my opinion. Okay, I think it's just a common sense issue. You're not competent enough to procure up-to-date ID, then you're not competent enough to participate and vote intelligently, right? Whatever your interest may be. So I think that's something we need to consider, and that's why Black people support it. Let's keep listening, and it keeps out the people who shouldn't be voting. All right, let's keep going.
Right. Yes, right. So I appreciate you for dropping by here, letting us know that you're still thinking about us.
Mm-hmm.
All right. All for good. All right, sir. Thank you for dropping by. Okay. Look away, look away, look away.
Oh my God, that is hilarious. That's hilarious. Man, shout out to that young lady. All these very creative content creators. I just think that was called Another Day on the Democrat Party. She made some great points, and she did so in a very humorous manner. So who are the real sellouts in this conversation? Who are the real sellouts? Let's keep listening. Y'all hit the #1 button and subscribe.
And when you go to other people's pages, they say, oh, well, this lady's just getting paid to say this. And, oh, she's just cooning for him. They're just saying this stuff to make him look good. But isn't that exactly what the Democrats do?
Yeah, exactly.
That's what the other side does as well. They pay you to say certain things. They pay you to tote the line. They pay you, these protesters. They pay you to say certain things about Obama to make him look good. They paid you to ignore the fact that Biden wasn't even Biden. That they got different clones or people with masks on and they're declining and all. They paid you to just ignore that. You're getting paid. So even if this lady is getting paid, and I don't know if she is, and I hope she is getting paid, but even if she is getting paid, why is it that when somebody gets paid from the other side, then they're a coon and they're lying? But when you're getting paid by the white people on your side, then you're activists.
It's because we have been brainwashed to believe that our Black identity is tied to our political affiliation. You had a whole bunch of Black and white ops for the Democrat Party come in and eat fried chicken and pickle pig feet with you, okay? And talk about I ain't no ways tired, and talk about hot sauce in the bag. And what else did they talk about? We've talked extensively about the fried chicken dinners and the barbecues, and we see that as them identifying with us. And therefore, because they identify with us, we will assume that they will do what is in our best interest. So anybody who doesn't vote for them is literally voting against, in their minds, voting against the interests of Black people. It's a psychological trick. It's a trick. It is game. You see, this is what I'm trying to explain to you. It is all game, because when you look at the effect that these Democrat policies have had on the Black community, they have been detrimental. So it's game being run on us, and you got people waking up from that. All right. And so we have tied, the majority of black people have tied their identity to the political party, i.e. the Democrat Party. That's what's going on, family. And it's a great big psychological trick. And I don't understand why black people aren't angry. More black people aren't literally angry at the Democrat Party. Again, I'm not telling you who to vote for, family. I'm just telling you to vote your interests. I know I vote for Democrat, I vote Republican, but I don't vote for them because I'm just tied to them, you know, because of some blind loyalty. I vote my interests. That's all I ask you guys to do. All right, let's let this lady keep going.
You're activists. You know, it's really hard to try to bring us all together. It's so hard to bring us all together. Because you leftists and you radical liberals are not willing to think. You won't think. You're not willing to just stop for a second, get out of your emotions for just a minute, get out of the rhetoric for just a minute, and just think about what you're saying. Just think about it. I'm telling you, you guys are going to be left behind, and it's going to be a sad, sad day. Because I'm going to get up and walk the fuck away from you like I'd never known your ass.
Family friendly.
I'm doing everything I can in my power to try to bring us together. But you guys are some of the most hard-headedest motherfuckers on this planet.
Samuel L.
We got real problems going on. People
again, this is a family-friendly broadcast. Every time y'all hear a cuss word, I need y'all to type family friendly in the chat room, okay? Because we need to make sure this stays monetized, all right? And if you hear them give me that MF, or y'all type Samuel L in the chat room. Let's keep going. Samuel L. Samuel L.
Eating babies and shit, and y'all over here talking about this lady is a coon because she got paid. If she got paid. This lady is a black grandmother at the White House standing next to the biggest power of the world, the president of the United States. He done sent somebody over there to talk to her about the murder of her grandchild. And I ain't seen not one of y'all go over there to Chicago and talk to anybody about their grandchildren getting killed, you fucking hypocrite.
Okay, she's getting a little carried away, but y'all just bear with me. Basically, she's explaining that this lady grandson got shot in Washington, D.C. And Trump sent somebody over there to talk to him about it and, you know, hear her story and just hear her out. And that's part of the reason they came through with the home rule and cleared out all those hooligans with the shenanigans with the going on in D.C. with the National Guard. I'm happy they did it. I know it's, you know, I know it's anti-black to be anti-criminal these days. I don't know how that happened. I don't know how in the hell that happened. But that's what Trump did. And you had all those Democrats say, oh, he's just targeting black. No, he's targeting criminals. And I don't see a problem with that. Okay, we just take off our blinders and put on our common sense hats. Do you want to live around black people? I'm just talking to black people only. Okay, somebody type FBA 250 in the chat room. I'm just talking to black people. Do you want to live around drug dealing, weed smoking, shooting, killing, robbing, pants sagging, hooligan, making the neighborhood unsafe dudes? Or would you like law enforcement to come run them up out of there so your kids can play in the front yard without fear of getting shot? I'm just going to put that out there. To me, okay, hypothetically, to me, if confronted with that question, I would like to have a safe neighborhood. Because see, 9 times out of 10, I'm sorry, 99.99, 98 times, 93 times out of 10, it's a black person unaliving another black person. And largely that's black men unaliving other black men. So me personally, as a black man, having 3 young black men that I'm raising, okay, I would prefer that my sons live in a safe community because more likely than not, they're going to be targeted by other young black men. So if the federal government will run those people out of here, that would make my life easier because that means I wouldn't have to worry about my children being shot and killed or hurt or attacked or robbed by somebody else that looks like them. I'm just saying, to me, To me, maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm too extreme because I want to live in a safe community where I pay property taxes. I don't want to have to be riding around looking over my shoulder because you got a bunch of crazy young dudes out here who's mad at the world because they mad at their mama and daddy because of how they were raised. And so they want to lash out and take it out on the world because they're unhappy with their life. It had nothing to do with me. Okay. Bottom line is, I think it's in the interest of Black people to be a little bit more firm as it comes to law enforcement, humbly speaking. And what this lady did was, what Donald Trump sent somebody to her home, talk about the death of her son in DC, and she went and came and spoke on his behalf. There's no indication that she received any money. But see, again, the knee-jerk reaction from a certain crowd is that anybody who speaks up on behalf of the Republican Party or the Conservative Party, hell, it could be a Green Party, everybody's a sellout, because in their mind, we have been brainwashed over the past 60 years to identify Democrat Party politics with Blackness. You understand what I'm saying? That's the mind trick. Even as degenerate as the Democrat Party has become, all these things that they have nothing to do with us. We have been, I mean, it's I don't even know how we got associated with some of these other organizations in their movement. We don't have anything to do with that. Okay. Love who you love. I get that. But leave the kids alone. Okay. That's all I'm saying. And Black people know we're not down with that. We church going people largely. How could you be associated with that? But either way, that's the party we in with. All right. But let's keep listening. Keep on listening. That she had enough to say, but y'all get the point. You understand where I'm coming from? And I think we all understand where each other's coming from. So the narrative is changing. I'm gonna go ahead and let a couple more videos play. Y'all make sure you all subscribe to the channel if you hadn't already. Let's get some more. Let's hear from the young people. Let's see what the young people have.
Have y'all not realized by now that us voting for Democrats is really just us voting for other ethnic groups to benefit from our vote? And this is what Democrats do. They always bring up Black people first. They're like, oh yeah, we know Black people have been through oppression and da-da-da in this country, but we got to support immigrants and we got to support LGBTQ and we got to support all of these other groups that ain't Black people. And if you guys would just...
That's what I just said. Isn't it? I just said that. I just go ahead and let him be. He got some real good cornbread. Those are inverted braids. I know y'all don't believe it. Uncle D had some braids back in the day. I didn't want the cornbraids. I want my braids to be inverted. Okay, inverted braids. That's what he has. I know stuff. Somebody type traveling braids in the chat room.
Just wake up. It's obvious that they've basically just been using us as a political tool to further agendas that don't benefit our community. And does nobody find it odd that we as Black people continue to vote for Democrats that basically push policies that will bring more immigrants into this country? And what do the immigrants do when they get into this country? They create communities and isolate themselves, which is the exact thing that Black people in this country opted out of in the 1960s. We didn't want to isolate ourselves or continue building within our own community. We wanted to integrate with the white people, which frankly, I think was a mistake. I think if we would have kept doing what a lot of these immigrants are doing in current day, we would have been a lot better off. And yeah, we would have not been integrated. However, we would have not been destroyed and continuously gone down economically within this country. So I'm just genuinely confused why Black people in this country continue to vote for Democrats. Like,
me too. I'm confused too. I don't know what it is. Now, this young lady says that Trump and the fascists, you vote for Trump and the fascists. Actually, the Democrat Party is the fascists, and you can ask the fascists that. But I'm going to let you keep going because you didn't contribute to the super chat. I'm not going to read any more people who don't contribute to the super chat. Okay, those are the only messages that get priority. I'm not saying you have to, okay? But, you know, you all are just all in. Somebody type pandering season. They all coming out. They all here today. Shout out to Passport King. They are all here today. These are the words they go, you're a fascist, sellout, boule, scream, holler, scream, holler.
There has been no substantial improvement over the past 60 years that would warrant us voting for them every single election. I just don't, it's just not computing with me. And I'm not saying vote for Republicans instead.
No, I'm not.
I just think that we need to reevaluate voting in general. Like, why are we voting for an apparatus that doesn't support us? It's a
vote your interest. That's all I'm saying.
Very simple question.
It's a very simple question, sir. You are right on target with everybody else. That's why I tell you, just vote your interest. Okay. I am not telling you who to vote for. I'm just telling you to vote your interest. Let's keep listening. You guys, let's see what else we have here. Boom.
Is the only major thing that Obama did while he was in office.
So what it says is, this is a young lady who says Obama did more for the LGBT community than he did for the blacks. F Obama and his husband. Oh my God, that's rough. F who don't like it. Those two men were sent to destroy black culture and emasculate black men. Now, we are not going to disrespect Michelle Obama in any way. That's not cool. Okay, I get what you're saying. I will accept the fact that Obama he did more for the LGBT community than he did for black. That's how black people feel. And you don't have to like it, but there's some truth to that. Don't we wish Barack Obama had done for us as his main supporting constituency as much as Trump has done for his or tried to do for his? That's what we wanted. That's the type of president we wanted. Okay? That's the type of president we wanted. Okay? But apparently, Barack Obama is a cowardice, and he doesn't think that we were worth the political capital. Okay? In my humble opinion, and Trump is far more courageous. You might call him crazy, but the man said what he's gonna do, and he's getting it done. he did say it, so don't be fooled. Let's keep listening to the brother.
The only thing.
You see? I mean, he's keeping it real. I mean, that's how black people feel. And so, as far as I'm concerned, I truly believe that the Democrat Party has towed their draws with black people. We are done with them. They're on the way out.
Yes. Tell me what you think.
Is Kamala Harris a black woman?
Hell no, she ain't no black woman. Her people are Indians. They wear saras. Black people don't wear saras. They wear a dot in the middle of their forehead, right here. So Kamala came over here with the bullshit trying to people are Indians. They wear saras. Black people don't wear saras. They wear a dot in the middle of their forehead, right here. So Kamala came over here with the bullshit trying to fool black people, and black people was not buying her bull.
I don't know if the word is saras. I think saras has to do with the sorority you're in and the sisterhood, but we're gonna let her keep cooking. Somebody type keep cooking in the chat room.
And when Obama black ass was pretending to be black, was in mother office, he did.
Man, she is letting she can really curse. She has this down to an art form. Whatever mama or grandmama she sat up under as a child, they have really mastered the art of using black vernacular profanity. There needs to be a whole chapter on the proper use of curse words, in these African American study class, because she's letting these MFs roll off her tongue. Okay, this is like a dominoes game in the middle of the ghetto. With a bottle of Donald Duck orange juice and some Seagram's gin on a big wooden table, right next to the plastic couch with the TV with the wrench in it, so you can turn the channel. Okay, let's keep going.
He didn't do a goddamn thing for the black community. The only thing he did was made it legal for the gay motherfuckers to get some legally and marry each other legally. He went to in Detroit, laughed in the mother face that didn't even have drinking water, and then he had the audacity to set his little maggot to the goddamn table and order a whole goddamn glass of drinking water, while the other people there had brown water in their fucking taps. So hell no, she made it clear. She said, I would not be doing anything for black people. Of course not me, motherfucker. We already know that shit. That's why we didn't vote for your mother ass in the first goddamn place.
Let him have it, man. Did you hear that? That wasn't that smooth. That was a smooth soliloquy, man. She was smart. You could feel a beat to that. Like, you felt it come to she hit all the syllables of that MF. Somebody type Samuel L in the chat room. I once did a research, and Samuel L. Jackson has made about $10 million just using the word MF I think in his career, he's generated $10 million just using the word MF. Okay, he's mastered that. He has mastered that. And I just found that amazing. But anyway, that is great. Shout out to her. That she did a great job. Magnificent. That was artwork. That's right up there with Shakespeare. Let's keep listening and see what else people have to say. Again, these are black people. It's pandering season, right? And this is black people responding to the pandering. I don't think they're going for it. I'm just saying, I don't really think black people are going for it. Let's keep listening. Let's keep listening to what black people are saying.
Democrats nationally, from Latinx to defunding the police to police organizations are all racist to bringing a set of cultural wars to our schools. We are on the losing side of those cultural wars. Full stop. You are worried about bathroom access and locker room access. Why don't you focus on classroom excellence? You have 50% of our kids not reading at grade level.
Well, they can just say we can do both.
You've proven you can't. Because you've permitted a 30-year low in reading and math scores, and nobody seems to be calling the whistle on this. We've lost the plot.
Why?
Because the party got unanchored. Every one of our most successful electoral presidents anchored themselves in what I call middle-class values and values that are universal, at least in this country, ascribed to. We went from acceptance to advocacy.
Yeah. See, here's the thing. If you have a guaranteed group of people who are gonna vote for you each time, you think you got enough room to play. And see, the black vote is crucial to the success of the black community. It is crucial. Without us, they fail. I want you all to repeat that. Without us, they fail. All right. But the problem is they've been taking us for advantage, thinking we were always gonna be there. That's what happened. Ladies, come on in the room. You know what happened. They thought we was just gonna be there and keep taking that foolishness. Shout out to USA Tour. They thought we're gonna be there and keep taking that foolishness the whole time. And you know what? We got around, we talked to our friends, we made different plans. Okay. All right. We start putting a little money off to the side here and there, put a little more money off to the side, and we was sitting there. We was looking at everybody else getting so, oh, you gonna do that for the LGBT, but you can't do nothing for me, huh? Somebody type in the chat room. Yeah. That's what happened. All right. Oh, y'all gonna do that for the immigrants, but you can't do that. How much they getting in the EBT? Oh, okay. All right. And so we've been plotting and planning. Okay. And then all of a sudden, now you want to move them in our house? You want to move them in Chicago, Detroit? We got water that need to be fixed in Flint. You can't do nothing for us, but you can give them phone vouchers. Okay. We got you. So what we end up doing, we wait till the Democrats ignored us, and they went to work, and we kindly packed all our stuff and began to put our stuff in storage and say, you know what? I don't know what's gonna happen next, but I know this is not good for me, and that's what you see happening. It's a breakup. We've been the bottom chick for the Democrat Party for 60 years, and we finally said enough is enough collectively. And then you had a whole bunch of black people say, yeah, that's right. And then we moved out, and we slowly moving out, and they're doing their best to try to get us in. They lost the plot. But see, they lost the plot because they overextended. It's like when you got a good woman and you out there trying to get 2 or 3 other ones. That's what happened. They was out there cheating on us. They thought they was going to replace us with the Latinas. But you know what the Latinas said? They took their money and said, nah, I'm good. Adios, papi. That's what happened. They tricked them Latinas, tricked them and voted for Trump anyway. Somebody typed Latinos for Trump. That's what happened. I know y'all don't like the analogy. It's a little too ghetto. Well, you know I'm a little ghetto. I'm a little smidge. Matter of fact, I'm not ghetto. I'm just a little hood. I'm like hood as the front of a car most of the time. Ask my children. They're not like me. They're very suburban. They speak well. You know, they're very highly educated. They're not like me. My wife either. All of them. We don't understand each other. I need some more hood friends so they'll understand where I'm coming from. That's why I come talk to y'all, because I know y'all ghetto and hood too. Shout out to all the hood people with common sense in the chat room. But let's keep listening to what happened.
Big difference. And I'll just take one on that I shouldn't. So here goes. I remember fighting for Title IX. The reason we are champions in women's sports in the Olympics and soccer, hockey, etc. is Title IX. Why would you undercut the premise of Title IX with the ability of trans men playing in women's sports?
That's crazy.
To me, it's insane.
It's baffling.
You're undermining one of the great accomplishments we as a country, but also spearheaded by the Democratic Party.
Now, I want y'all to think about that. Title IX was designed to make sure women are equally funded in sports. That's something that we pushed, okay? It was bipartisan push. And then we turn around under the Democrats and said, well, you know what, Title IX, we should let men play sports too. But the reason we funded the women is because, you know, people weren't necessarily attending the women's sports, so they couldn't get adequately compensated because they don't have the physical athletic ability that men do. And so now, so we separated them. Well, we tried to make it fair, and now you want to put men in the women's sports. So basically, you're just gonna let the men have all the money and all the glory and all the scholarships. That's what you're saying. Just think how crazy that is. Just think how crazy that is. That is sexism on top of sexism right there. But I don't want to talk about that. Let's keep going.
Title IX, and we're undercutting it.
They sure did. They undercut it. And black people, what do black people have to do with any of that? What do we even have to do with any of that? That has nothing to do with us. You see what I'm saying? And yet we fell for it. Let's keep listening, and let's keep. And again, one of the other things I noticed is racism is everywhere. Let me. I want y'all to check this out. I found this to be quite interesting. Let me see if I can pull this up.
I might have to actually admit that Donald Trump is a racist after seeing this video.
I like him too. One thing I like about him, he keeps it real, just like Grandma. I appreciate that because I can trust him because he tells exactly how he feels and what he thinks. Thank God for this president. I am filled, my cup runneth over. Because he allowed his constituents, his people to come to my house to interview me, to talk about the murder of my grandson. It seemed like nobody cared. I'm an advocate for murder. I marched, I rallied, I pulled out other families in the District of Columbia that had murders and did not have answers. Ooh.
I felt that was from the answer. She said, ooh, that touched her heart. Her grandson got murdered. You know how you feel about your grandchild. All you grandparents in there, your firstborn grandchild, you done went years and years without having a baby. Ladies especially, years and years without having a baby. You got them crazy kids of yours, you just hope they find somebody to have a baby with. You hope, because, you know, and then you finally get a grandson, and imagine that grandson being murdered. I want you to think about that as a grandparent. I know some of y'all don't have grandchildren, but remember the relationship that you have with your grandmother. That's their opportunity to really shine. Okay, you had to raise them dumb kids you got because they act just like their daddy or their mama. Okay, but your grandkids, first of all, you can pick them up and give them back. So all you get to be the sweetest person that you can be because you don't have to be the disciplinarian per se. You're not raising those kids. Okay. Most people aren't. An ideal situation, you're not. And then imagine for those children to be taken away. Shout out to my baby girl, Penelope. What's up, baby? How you doing? Good to see you in here. But imagine that, right? And that's where that who came from. And then you finally get this president who sends somebody. It means something to him. And she's not the only DC parent or grandparent that lost a child because of the senseless murders going on in DC. Right. And I don't see any of those black politicians doing anything about it. But yet we have the nerve to call Donald Trump racist. Maybe Donald Trump is a racist. The racists seem to think he's positioned them to come on out the box and march through DC and all kind of crazy stuff. But was he racist when he was receiving an award from the NAACP and Jesse Jackson back in the 80s? Was he racist when he made a way for Nelson Mandela to come over to the United States on an airplane? Was he racist when he gave permission to this black woman, a homeless woman who was occupying one of his suites to just stay there and let her stay for free and make sure she ate and had clean towels 3 times a day. Was he racist? I mean, was he racist then? I don't know. You tell me, okay? You tell me. Was he racist when all these rappers were putting his name in rap songs and talking about how they wanted to be Trump and singing his praises? Was he racist then? That was the 80s, 90s. I'm just asking. I'm just asking questions. I'm not saying he is. I'm not saying he's not. But I'm saying black people, when did Donald Trump become racist? When did Donald Trump become the racist? It seemed like to me he became racist when he found out he was going to vote run for president as a Republican. He wasn't racist when he was on Oprah all those times, was he? Was he racist then? I mean, let's just think about it. Okay, you don't have to like the man. I don't care if you like him or not. I'm just asking questions. I'm just asking logical questions, and you tell me. Now, if you're upset by me asking you questions that force you to have to rationalize and think and use logic, then that's not a me problem, that's a you problem. That's me forcing you to confront your programming, okay? Because I'm not programmed like that. I see it for what it is. People don't come on this page because they want me to lie to them. If you want me to lie to you, this is not the place for you. I'm going to tell you the truth. Whether we're talking about Carmelo Anthony, whether we're talking about reparations for black people because Africans sold us into slavery, whatever you want to, I'm going to tell you about yourself. It is what it is. You don't have to like what I'm saying. But I think this sort of medicine that I'm throwing out there that I really enjoy, I enjoy causing y'all pain. I do. I really take pleasure in making y'all uncomfortable with the truth. I do. Or making you at least confront your strongly held beliefs. I enjoy doing it. It is a pleasure to me to do that. Okay. It is something about me that just deep down on the inside of me, it makes me happy to make you uncomfortable, hitting you upside the head with the truth. I'm gonna let this grandma keep speaking and telling her story. We left off at whew. All right, let's keep going.
We marched, we rallied, and nobody heard me, Democrats. Get mad at me. Until this Republican sent his constituents, his people out there to interview me in my home. Have you ever heard of a thing? Then they invited me twice before Congress to testify for the beautiful bill that's going to change crime in the district. If you kill somebody, okay, you take a life, you do life. Just that simple.
I like that. You take a life, you do life. We need some more of that. You take a life, you do that. You do life.
If you do a harsh crime, you do harsh time. Just that simple. And then we need National Guard, and which we did years ago. He brought it on. I love him. I don't want to hear nothing you got to say about that racist stuff. And don't be looking at me on the news hating on me because I'm standing up for somebody that deserves to be standing up for. Get off the man's back. Let him do his job. He's doing the right thing. Back up off of him. And Grandma said it.
Grandma said it. There you go. There you have it.
Sorry to disappoint you, Democrats, but the reality is those of us who are not looking for Donald Trump to be racist can acknowledge that he is not racist, that he does amazing
let
things.
me just ask, was Joe Biden racist? Was somebody type Sleepy Joe, somebody type Strom Thurmond in the chat room. Was Joe Biden racist? Did you think he was racist? He's a clean black. Y'all remember what he said about Barack Obama? He's clean. You remember that? That seems a little racist to me, right? What about Bill Clinton? What old hot boy Bill Clinton? Did you know hot boy Bill Clinton and Sleepy Joe Biden were the ones that came up with the 1994 crime bill and signed it? That's why you hadn't seen your daddy for 15, 20 years. Did you know that? Is that racist? I'm just asking questions. I just want to know. You tell me, okay? You tell me. You let me know, all right? So if you're gonna hold Donald Trump to the racist president, then you also voted for Barack Obama, and we all know that Barack Obama said he ain't gonna do that for black people. I think that anytime you can go in front of a university of black boys, if you go down to the house, if you go to Morehouse and you tell these young black men at Morehouse College that they need to pull their pants up, right? You know, I'm thinking it's not like you came there and paid all their tuitions, Mr. President. You basically use that pulpit, you use that graduation speech to denigrate the highest order of young black men, i.e. Morehouse. Shout out to Morehouse College in Atlanta. That's what President Obama did, but it sounds pretty racist to me. Okay, and I know he's, you know, at least half black, but his father's from Kenya. His mother is a white woman from Kansas. I don't think he has any association or understanding FBA. It is only borrowed. This man was raised overseas somewhere. You see what I'm saying? So that's racist too. That's definitely stereotype. If you get in front of a bunch of black boys and tell them to pull their pants up, that's disrespectful. I would never do that. I would never, ever do that. As a foundational black American man, I would never do that. So again, if Trump is racist, all the other presidents are racist, in my humble opinion. All right, but let's keep pushing. Let's keep pushing.
For the black community all the time. That he's often the only one who listens when black people ask for specific help.
Yep.
Just saying.
And look, you can be mad at these black people, but this is their opinion. This is how they feel. You don't have to like it, but this is what they're saying. This is black. So what you see happening is everything that we knew before is being turned on its head. Everybody that used to be cool is no longer cool. And I found this video, this is a moment too. See, I want you to listen to this, and this is very significant. Let's keep listening.
And don't let them talk that shit to the youth either.
Family friendly.
I'm walking to the gym the other morning, and this dude walks up on me, asks me to buy him a sandwich. I ain't had no cash for me, so I'm like, come on, let's go inside the store, I'll buy it for you. Even proceeded to tell me to get a juice. So as we start getting to rapping, he tell me his name, he tell me he's 44 years old, he living with his mother, he going through it right now. I'm like, damn, it's a shame, you know, I'm giving him my sympathy. Tell him to stay strong, keep going, keep fighting. But then he proceeded to let me know how he backed out the hammer on the nigga the night before. And he telling me the story, and I let him get like 5 more seconds of his story, and I just stopped.
I want you to understand that this guy is trying to help a homeless guy eat some food. And he bought him a sandwich, and the guy started talking about just rambling. You know, homeless folk be rambling. So he had to pull a gun. That's what he meant, backed out the hammer on somebody. You homeless and you pulling guns on people, sir. You live with your mom at 44. That's degeneracy. Okay, that means you made some serious errors in your life somewhere. Something happened. But let's keep listening. I want you to hear what this brother started off saying. Don't listen to these old fools. All right, let's keep listening.
I was like, my nigga, didn't you just tell me you 44 years old? Wouldn't it be a damn shame? You living with your mother. Why would you put her through that pain? Where she would have to fucking possibly bury you. And he was like, nah, niggas know my gun game. Niggas not gonna play with me. And I was like, yo, bro, that's not how the streets work. You backed out the hammer on the nigga last night and you didn't use it. So what if that nigga feels obligated to come back and do some shit to you today? Man, let me tell you something right now. If you're around grown ass men and they talking that dumb shit, don't let them talk that shit to you. And don't let them talk that shit to the fucking youth. Stop them in their motherfucking tracks.
Yeah.
Cause like I told you before, nigga, it feels great to what? Breathe, nigga.
Yeah.
Stop the foolishness and grow the fuck up.
All right. So again, one thing I want to point out is that the real sellouts in the black community, the real coons, the real house Negroes, those are the gangsters and the drug dealers. I said it. The real sellouts in the black community, black people, black gangbangers and drug dealers have killed more black people in the United States than died during slavery. Okay? They've killed more black people that died during the lynching. They've killed more black people that died fighting for our freedom during the Civil War. All right. So who are the real sellouts? Who are the real sellouts in the black community? Huh? I'm gonna say it's the drug dealers and the gangbangers. That's who I think. And the people who support them. Those are the real sellouts. And we need and this is what you see happening. We have a fight for the heart and soul of Black America. And a lot of that has to do with the fact that we fell for the Democrat trap, that degeneracy and freebies is synonymous with black, and people are tired of it. Okay. And that's why we have such an anti police belief, even though we are the ones that suffer the most when the police, when the community is running raggedy, because we got a bunch of YNs running there cutting up and acting a fool. Listen to this.
Black people
who found this lady TikTok, and you in the comments being real disrespectful. Let me give you a perspective real quick. If the rest of the world decided to go against black people, trust me, the people of color will be at the front line ripping your ass apart. You hear me? That means everybody that they kicking out right now will be tearing your ass apart. Now,
yeah. So again, this story came about because there was a young black woman who was an ICE agent, and you had black people, oh, you a sellout, you a sellout. What the hell, them people, what you mean? Did you not outlook? Do you not know that these people from these other countries don't like you like that? I don't care whether you're talking about Syria, Palestine, whoever. Arabs started the international, they started the slave trade out of Africa 1,600 years before the white man showed up. I dare say that the white folk got the slave trade idea from the Arabs, okay? And the reason that you don't have a lot of black people in Saudi Arabia and all those other Arab countries, because they unalived them. They turned the men into eunuchs. In other words, they emasculated them, okay? And if a woman who often were used as concubines got pregnant, the baby would literally be removed in the most horrible way possible. You understand that? So I'm just saying, okay? I'm just pointing out the fact that these folk don't like it. We already understand that Latinos are dealing with their own internal racism. They have Afro-Latinos and white Latinos. Somebody type Argentina. I want you to go ask anybody in the Latin world about how racist Argentina is. They're so racist that the Nazis who fled World War II, they fled to Argentina. You see what, and they were openly invited. All right. And so what I'm trying to help you all understand is that all these people who you say, oh, we down with the brown POC, they don't like you either. That's what you need to understand. They don't like you either. And so if you see this young black lady out there working for ICE, getting that money, speaking of which, I just want y'all to know it's 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off. It's my understanding they give you a $15,000 bonus. And you can call that line, 1-800-DHS-ICE, and get signed up. They still paying, they contract, they got a lot of money out there. ICE is a good, you're not doing anything, you don't want to go to the military, go ahead and join ICE. Okay, go ahead and help out. Help out, get you some money. Nothing, go ahead, get that Dodge Charger, right? You do whatever, you get your little apartment down in Florida, they're gonna move you around. It's gonna be a lot of work coming up soon. There's gonna be a lot of work coming up. All right, if you don't have your permit, I'm sure they'll help you get. They got programs. But anyway, let's let this lady finish explaining her.
Now, obviously, a lot of y'all don't know what coon is, because if you did, you would say it when you're in the mirror. Now, if you're not making more than that black ICE agent made,
no, they not.
Why you talking to this lady? Go fight for them food stamps y'all like to fight for.
Let me tell you something. Some of these ICE agents are making enough money that they are propelling themselves into the middle class with this first job. I mean, some of these people are making over $100,000 a year. Imagine 18, 19, 20 years old. You go from make 30, 40,000. You're making $100,000 a year for the next 4 years. You understand? Imagine what that does to you. And here we are talking about, oh, you a sellout. You better get them jobs. You better get those good jobs. Do you know the majority of the ICE agents are Hispanic? The majority of the ICE agents are Hispanic. I did the numbers on this broadcast. The second highest number is Asian, and white, and then the last is black. We not taking these jobs because we think that's being a sellout. Y'all better go get them good ICE jobs. Somebody type ICE in the chat room. You got a son laying around on the car on the couch. Call ICE. Yeah, look, I need you to come give him a job. Get him a job. That's what you need to do. Let's keep pushing.
Go fight your baby daddy, baby mama.
Yeah, but again, this all of this anti-police, shout out to old wise one. That's not cool. You even have police officers who are anti-police. Remember this video? I want you to check this video out. You literally have black people who are anti-law enforcement and who themselves are law enforcement. Again, I know law enforcement is not perfect. That's not what I'm saying. but you can't be law enforcement and be anti-law enforcement, in my opinion. Listen to this.
Philadelphia said that ICE is a made-up agency. It's made-up police officers, not real, is what she was saying, basically. And her little punk-ass speech. Who do y'all think she was directing that information to? They think black people dumb. They want black people to get involved and get upset about this ICE shit. So let me educate y'all something, right? ICE is under the Homeland Department. ICE has been around since 9/11. After 9/11, they made ICE. ICE is not fake. Fuck with that mayor of Philly talking about ICE is not fake. ICE is real federal agents. Black people, do not attempt to do what that white bitch did, because you'd have been got shot.
I'm sorry, sir, your language is a little rough this morning. He's very passionate about. Somebody type passionate in the chat room. Very passionate. Very passionate. Somebody type, look, black people are outraged. Some black people with common sense are outraged. Somebody said, clearly he's from Baltimore. You will not insult this man's authentic Baltimore area accent. Okay, you will not do that. You will not do that. Okay, I'm not gonna have you all. This brother is passionate about how he feels. He is pro ICE. That's what he is. All right. It's not me talking. These are black people. I'm just giving you the commentary. You probably didn't know there's many black people angry with the Democrat Party. Y'all didn't know that, huh? With some of this foolishness. Yeah, they forced us to be quiet because if we say something, they call us sellout and coon. But now that don't matter no more. We don't give a damn what that left-leaning Marxist group of socialist, communist black people have to say. We know you all are degenerate, and we're tired of dealing with you because you're making us all look bad. You are the reason that we have people like Cardi B and Meg Thee Stallion and all these people speaking up on my behalf. Shout out to Wrinkle Brand. We're tired of you. We're sick and tired of you. And I just think, I don't know how I can lay that down anymore. But we're sick and tired of that low life, low thinking contingent speaking on behalf of regular black people who really just want to be left alone and want to be able to enjoy the bounty that our ancestors helped build here in the United States. Real talk. But let's go ahead and let the brother from Baltimore keep doing what he do. Okay, somebody type "do" in the chat room.
You know, like I know, when the police tell you to get the fuck out the car, you get the fuck out the car. Unless you're some uppity black person and you some white liberal, I guess, I don't know. But when you black and you from the hood and the police get surround your car and they tell you to get the fuck out, what do you normally do? You get the fuck out. Because if you don't, what happens? They take you up out that car and they whoop your ass. And if they can't take you out the car because you put your fucking foot on the gas, they gonna shoot that motherfucker. And y'all know that.
My man is clearly speaking from a place of both pain and understanding. I'm just saying, he's pain and somebody type pain and understanding. This is not creative writing class. This is authentic experience. I hear the pain in his voice. Let's keep listening to the brother do what he do.
So stop playing games. What happened to that white lady, that's a common thing. That's common to me. And my reality as a black man in America, that shit is common. If the police say get the fuck out the car, you get the fuck out the car or you get problems. And if you push the gas and another officer gets hit, that becomes attempt murder. You cannot use that. Now they're saying you use the vehicle as a weapon and they are going to open fire. Fuck is y'all talking about?
My man read the manual thoroughly. He read everything that the manual had to say. I don't want him to bust a blood vessel. We're going to go ahead and let him go on back to Baltimore where he was, because he is clearly passionate, but he's upset with the Philadelphia police chief. Don't listen to her. You better listen to law enforcement. You understand me? Y'all don't be out there cutting up and acting a fool. Let's listen to a couple more people, and then we're going to get back to the lecture, if you will. I like this little lady. Y'all make sure y'all hit the #1 button and subscribe to the channel.
Black Democrat politician. This is the policy enforcer. They're the ones that are responsible for passing the laws that keep your taxes high. The Black Democrat politician is shielded from accountability, but these are the ones that raise your taxes, destroy your schools, flood neighborhoods with crime, and then refuse to prosecute the crime. They suffocate Black leadership.
Now, where was the lie in that? They flood our neighborhoods with crime because of their policies and then refuse to prosecute the crime. Where is the lie? I don't see the lie in that. I see that as being absolutely certain. That is what I've experienced in my life, in my time in the ghetto. Okay. Shout out to April Chapman. I'm just saying, where's the lie in that? Okay. And then if there's no lie, if this is true, then why are we still voting for this party? And again, I'm not telling you who to vote for. I tell you to vote your interest. Again, I'm not pro-Republican. I'm not pro-Democrat. I'm pro-vote your interest. I vote my interests. I vote Democrat. I vote Republican. Okay. But if this is the truth and you accept this as the truth and it's based on your experience, your research, then why is it that we so beholden on one party or another? You tell me. Let's keep listening to the lady, April Chapman.
It's just stagnation everywhere you go. But what the black politician will do is just turn around and blame racism. He'll blame, or she, racism, Republicans. They will even resurrect Ronald Reagan from the dead, even though Democrats have been the ones that have been in charge for 60 years straight. You don't see no Republicans nowhere in these districts. But the black politician, Democrat politician, that is, you got to put that precursor in front of it. They don't solve any problem. The problems are his product. That's how they maintain power. The third one is the black Democrat civil rights worker. This is the professional grievance hustler. You see these are your Al Sharptons, and even someone like a Jamal Bryant. He serves double duty as the pulpit pimp, the black Democrat pastor, and he's like the community organizer, activist / civil rights worker. This individual lives off of the grievance, the perpetual outrage. They manufacture victimhood and they never fix anything. But if the reason why they don't fix anything is because if black Americans ever became free or educated or felt safe and prosperous, this element of the Iron Triangle would be unemployed.
You call it the Iron Triangle. Shout out to this beautiful sister, April Chapman. She is letting them have it. Go ahead, girl.
By Tuesday, you understand? So crime must remain high. Schools must remain broken. Poverty must remain permanent because black suffering is the revenue stream for every aspect of the Iron Triangle.
Damn. Boy, she laid it out there. Shout out to April Chapman. Y'all go over there and tell her Uncle D said she was cooking on this one, man. She was cooking. Again, you know, Uncle D is kinder and gentler. I'm not not here to disparage people. I'm just here to state the facts. You all can do with it what you will. And you know, that's what I'm here to do. I'm I'm a kinder, gentler podcaster. You know, I keep the jokes at a minimum. But other people are not. They are letting the Democrat Party have it. Let's keep going.
People, they do something that experts call present lower competence, meaning they dumb down their vocabulary and they use words with fewer syllables than when they talk to other white people. And the study found that white conservatives do not do this. And I remember looking at that and my heart just dropping to the floor. And
all right, so what she just said was the thing I said earlier when we talk about parentalism, we talk about liberal parentalism. Now, Thurgood Marshall talked about it. Malcolm X talked about it. Elijah Muhammad talked about it. Martin Luther King talked about it. Hell, they've been talking about it since way back with Phyllis Wheatley. Okay, Marcus Garvey talked about it. All the black people who come to this country will tell you that this so-called parentalism by these well-meaning white liberals is the most insidious form of racism, because they basically think you are too stupid as black people to know what you're doing, and they have to tell you how to vote. You see? So that's what you need to understand. Republicans, right? The conservatives, they don't just want, I don't want to be around the goddamn, but live in your neighborhood. White people, liberals, will come to your neighborhood and tell you how you're supposed to deal with your children, how much money, what you're supposed to do, how you're supposed to interact with your husband, how to raise your children. You see, who you should vote for, what policies are best for you. That is that's paternalism. That's that liberal paternalism. You don't know what's good for you. Okay, so in other words, y'all too stupid, low IQ. You're too degenerate. Do what I say to know how to conduct yourselves in a civil society. That's basically what she's saying. She's saying this woman was saying that when the studies have shown that liberals talk to black people like they're stupid. That's basically what I was saying. So the studies even show that. So when you start saying we're voting for the Democrats because they're not racist, yes, they are. Okay, race doesn't stop from one party to another. The same people that's racist on one part, they all in the same house together. You don't think they're having a conversation, just got a different approach. All right. So again, it's not going anywhere. Racism in America is like the weather. Just like black people have our own stereotypes about Latinos, Asians, white people, all sorts of stuff. Now we might not be able to act upon it because, racism is a system typically designed by a group of people to keep another group down or keep them oppressed or whatever. It has a lot to do with capitalism, but the bottom line is, it's a system, but it starts with the stereotypes. It starts with the bigotry and the need. But shout out to, thank you so much. Shout out to Unshakable with April. Thank you for featuring my content. You rock, sir. Thank you so much. You did a brilliant and wonderful job breaking that down. Now let's move on to the next broadcast, and I will read all the super chats towards the end of the broadcast. So we'll read that again. But big shout out to Miss April. Great job on breaking that down. Very well thought out and real hard hitting. And shout out to TJM Truth. Thank you so much. Let's keep it pushing. We got a couple more videos.
Goss Graves, do women have penises?
So again, I believe that women...
Democrats have gone so crazy. Women can have penises. That's not a thing. That's not biology. It's not science. And you sound like a lunatic.
And the women...
If y'all ever wanted a reason...
Now, I just want y'all to understand that, okay? That white woman was trying to get that black woman to admit that women don't have, tallywhackers. Somebody type tallywhacker in the chat room. How far to the left have black people? I mean, just think about that. Just think about that. If we don't vote for that, we're not black. If we don't vote for the party that doesn't know what a woman is, then we're not black. Just think about that. That's how so warped. That's how they've so convinced us to wrap our identity and blackness into our political choices. Think about it. That's crazy, man. If you took that person back to 1950 and you sat them in the room full of grandmas and aunties and ask her, if she tried to come in there and convince them that they said, well, what is a woman? What is a woman? Patrice, come listen to this little girl tell us what she done went off to college and ask her the question, what is a woman? Lisa Ann. Oh, you don't go by Lisa Ann anymore? Okay, Elizabeth. She go by the name of Elizabeth now. Elizabeth. Or Dr. Elizabeth. What is a woman? And when she come out of her mouth talk about what a woman is, just think about it. They would look at her like she's crazy. You have lost your mind. Think about that. You have lost your whole complete and entire mind. I'm gonna let this brother finish explaining this.
Reason why I left the Democrats. Well, here you go. This is what they do. They always do this shit. You can only be on the side of dishonesty for so long before you finally go, okay, I gotta just start telling the truth.
Bro, it's not even dishonesty, but it's crazy, man. That's crazy. You don't know what a woman is? You came out of one. That's what a woman is. Go look at your mama. You don't know? Go look up in there and see. That's a woman right there. That's what she have. See that? That's what you came out of 27, 28, 39, 40 years ago. That's what a woman is right there. Just look right there. Okay? Look up in there. Okay? Might not be as neat and orderly as it used to be when you first came out. You probably messed it up. But look up in there. She don't have a tallywhacker. That's what a woman is. A woman is a person without a tallywhacker. Okay? That was born with a hoo-ha. Somebody type hoo-ha in the chat room. There's hoo-has and there's tallywhackers. Okay? Hoo-has, babies fall out of them. All right? After about 37, 38, 49 weeks, a baby fall out of them. If you go for a walk towards your last weeks, it'll help that baby fall out faster, a lot easier. Okay? Tallywhackers are what put the baby up in there. Somebody type baby batter. Tallywhackers, right? They have baby batter that comes out of there, and they boop, up in the hoo-ha, right? And then about 9 months, 37, 38, 39 months, 40 months, a baby comes out of there. Brand new spanking baby. Now, a little ugly when they come out. You got to clean them off and dust them off a little bit. But after a while, they grow up, their faces unmush, and then you have a baby, okay? A woman is the one with the hoo-ha, okay? And a man is the one with the tallywhacker, right? You see what I'm saying? Hoo-has and tallywhackers. Now, I shouldn't have to explain that to a person with a PhD, but sometimes you got to talk to people like they're crazy. You got to look. See, that's where you came from. Your mama was a woman. Your grandmama was a woman. Your great-grandma was a woman. That's how you got here. Praise Moses. See, you got to keep it simple for stupid people. But I'm going to let the brother finish speaking. Somebody type Uncle D inappropriate in the chat. Somebody type cancel Uncle D in the chat room. Cancel Uncle D.
You're supposed to be a politician who's supposed to be in charge of making decisions that are going to affect all of us. And you can't answer a question as simple as, hey, women have penises, and you just can't answer it. That is why I left Democrats, because they don't give a fuck how wrong it is. They're going to stand on that side. And I'm sorry, but I just can't be like that. She didn't give a damn how much it made her look like an idiot. She was just going to agree with Democrats, not answer their question, dance around. And it's like, yo, at what point are you just going to go, you know what? I got to just be honest. That's why I left Democrats.
Black people didn't lead. Look, man, black people didn't lead the Democrats. The Democrats left black people. Y'all just went too crazy. That's just crazy as hell. You can't say all that craziness, man. That's just crazy to us, man. But anyway, let my girl come back in a minute. Y'all remember this lady? She came back early. I'm gonna let her play a little bit, and then we're gonna get to the main lesson. Shout out to everybody on
Martha.
Hey, Savannah.
Did you hear what happened?
With them, child.
Say we got somebody else that's gonna be on our side.
I do declare.
He got a strong name, powerful name. His name Gavin Newsom. That's right. He was talking to a bunch of niggers the other day, and he said he just like us. He can't read nor write either.
Yeah.
That's what he said.
Show up, yeah.
And if he gets in there, we might have somebody that can do more things for us.
He might get us a big house. If he what you say, now is it that good for you?
Don't you talk like that.
Oh,
Overseer Obama might hear you. And you know he's don't want us to have the things that the rest of the overseers have.
Oh man! So she talk about she talk about Gavin Newsom. Gavin Newsom got his silly self on somebody's stage and says something about he's dumb like us, or he's like us. I got a horrible. I did horrible on the SAT. I'm just like you all. So you think we stupid? Again, that's the paternalism. That's the paternalism right there. Okay, he thinks we're stupid. This is who y'all want to vote for, right? Gavin Newsom, that's going to be your president. All you black folk is going to vote blue no matter who your president's going to be. Gavin, your neighborhood is going to look just like Hope Street in Los Angeles, California. I want all of you all, before you vote for Gavin Newsom, I want you to spend your money, get your Southwest Airlines ticket. Okay, make sure you upgrade so you can get in the first 15 seats. Okay, otherwise you're going to be way in the back. You're going to have two fat people, one on one side. It's going to be uncomfortable. And I know Spirit Airlines has gone out of, y'all done ran Spirit Airlines out of business. Okay, all that fighting and carrying on Spirit Air, y'all done ran them out of business. So you're not going to be able to make that trip to Puerto Rico. But you can still go to California. I want you to go to Hope Street. Okay, go to Hope Street, and you will see what America will look like if Gavin Newsom becomes the president of the United States. Hope Street. Y'all go to Hope Street. Write it down. Hope. Spell it out. Hope. Use your word. H-O-P Street. And if you do that, okay, if you do that, then you understand why folk with good sense are leaving California. I'm gonna let this lady finish cooking.
If you go around there and tell Big Massa what he heard you say, then, you know, if they don't like what you say, they got a way of making sure don't nobody hear you no more.
I knows it.
You got to be careful.
Yeah.
Now, Martha, you get on away from around here with that kind of foolish talk. Now, go on now, get. I love you here, but you just can't say stuff like that. Not around here.
No.
Come on around the back later after the sun and sit all the way, and we can talk more about it.
All right.
She is funny.
Love you, man.
I love you here. All right, child. Yes, indeed. Go down, Moses. Wait.
But this is how Democrats look to to black people who just said, nah, I'm not 100% tied to it. That's how Democrats look. Now, you all know this gentleman. I'm gonna let this gentleman speak. You know, the good doctor is in the house. The good doctor has something to say. I want y'all to listen to this, man. Then we go get to what we're doing.
Specifically remember Kamala Harris, and it's on YouTube. You can go and look right now. And this is where she lost me. She said, I ain't gonna sit up here and tell you I'm gonna do something specifically for black people. She said that out her mouth. I'm saying it one more time. She said, I'm not gonna sit up here and this is quote unquote, I'm not gonna sit up here and tell you I'm gonna do anything specifically for black people. What I do is gonna be for all people. That's what Kamala Harris said. Kamala Harris said she can't do nothing specifically for us. I was done with it.
Somebody type specifically. He got like 4 or 5 syllables in there. That's specifically. That's what she says.
Because she's doing something, they was doing things specifically for immigrants. They had plans
specifically. Somebody say specifically.
Specifically for illegal immigrants. They said they ain't no trouble, they ain't no bother.
Ain't no problem.
But they can't do nothing specifically for us.
Nope. Hey, brother, you right. And again, black people are waking up, man. It is what it is. You can't really get around that. Somebody type specifically. If you say that you can't do anything specifically for us, then you can't expect us to do anything specifically for you. And that includes voting for you specifically. Why would we specifically vote for you if you're not going to specifically vote for us? What kind of relationship is this? You scratch. This is not a relationship that I want to be in. This is a bad relationship. Now, again, it's pandering season and the Democrats are back. And as I said earlier, every election cycle, like clockwork, politicians suddenly rediscover the black America. They candidates who haven't spent any time with us for years, they start talking about black voters, and suddenly they can't stop talking about it. They show up in black churches and at soul food restaurants and fish fries, and they pose for pictures in black neighborhoods, and they gather up all the black rappers and black celebrities and go on a campaign and announce, brand new plans, right? Supposedly designed just for us. They borrow the language, embrace our culture. They quote civil rights. They start speaking slang and tell us that democracy itself depends on their vote. Somebody type vote or die in the chat room. And the question isn't whether these last minute displays represent genuine commitment, or are they just carefully scripted political theater designed to secure our support until the polls close? Then they don't need us anymore. Okay, we basically the late night chick. They show up at 2:30 in the morning, and then they smash and go. We don't hear from them for another 3 or 4 weeks so they can get away from their wife. You see what I'm saying? That's who the black community is to the Democrat Party. And so, today what I want to do is examine some of the most memorable, and in some cases ridiculous examples of this political pandering directed at black America over the past decade. And are they offering real solutions, or are they just putting another campaign show? So one of my favorites, right, is get your booty on the poll. Get your booty to the poll. Who the original advertisement wasn't tied to one candidate, but it ran during the 2020 presidential election involving Democrat Joe Biden, and was later adopted by Georgia's January 5th, 2021 Senate runoff involving Raphael Warnock and John Ossoff. And the first video was released on September 20th, 2020. Okay. Now, what did this video have in it? Okay, I want y'all we're going to break this down from a real scientific perspective. They had strip dancers, exotic dancers, performing on poles, encouraging black men to vote. And the repeated slogan was, get your booty to the poll. And the dancers explained that the voters chose district attorneys, school board members, and other local officials. That was what they was trying to do. And it was clever enough to go viral, but the critics argued that it reduced black male political engagement to strip club culture. And it assumed that showing black men nearly naked women was the proper way to make them care about the government. Y'all remember that? Somebody type strip dances in the chat room. Now, the next one is when they had, Megan Thee Stallion performing and twerking for Kamala Harris. This is a presidential candidate. right? And you know, this happened on July 30th, 2024 at the Georgia State University Convocation Center in Atlanta. What happened? Well, Harris held her first major Georgia rally after becoming a presumptive Democrat nominee, and Meg Thee Stallion appeared with dancers. They performed the song Savage, almost Savage, right? And they promoted what she called the Hotties for Harris. Somebody type Hotties for Harris in the chat room. And the event was held before a heavily Black audience in Atlanta, one of the most important battleground states. Quavo, all right, from Migos, also appeared and spoke about gun violence. Okay, Megan's dancing became a national controversy because critics questioned why, as a presidential candidate, thought sexualized entertainment was an appropriate method of attracting Black voters, especially Black women and younger Black voters. And the issue wasn't Meg Thee Stallion endorsed the candidate. She has the right to endorse anyone she wants to, whatever particular politics she has. The pandering was the campaign's decision to turn a presidential rally into a concert, and apparently assumed that this kind of entertainment would create political enthusiasm that the policy that failed to produce. Now, the next one was Beyonce and Kelly Rowland at the Harris Houston rally. Again, we still talk about Kamala Harris running for president. This happened on October 25th, 2024 in Houston. So what happened? Beyonce and Kelly Rowland, they appeared at approximately 30,000 people at Harris's baby deletion rights rally. Okay, this is what you got Beyonce and Kelly Rowland there. All right, Beyonce didn't perform. She introduced Harris, all right, who entered to Beyonce's song Freedom, and the campaign plainly understood Beyonce's particular influence among Black women and younger Black voters. And Reuters reported that the appearance offered Harris access to constituencies considered critical to her campaign. And that's understandable, right? But here's the thing. A lot of people who were there expected a performance, which demonstrates the danger of building political events around celebrities. People may arrive expecting a concert and leave without without getting any policy. They were there to see a concert. They wasn't there to see Kamala Harris, because most people wouldn't have showed up, in my opinion. And the other thing is the entire Harris celebrity concert strategy when she ran for president, primarily from July through November 2024, she repeatedly used celebrities, musicians. Meg Thee Stallion appeared in Atlanta. Lizzo appeared in Detroit. Usher came through in Georgia. Cardi B in Wisconsin. Okay. Beyonce, Kelly Rowland in Houston. Oprah Winfrey, Lady Gaga, Katy Perry, Andre Day, Cedric the Entertainer, The Roots, and others participated in the campaign events during those closing days. Celebrity endorsements aren't limited to Democrats and Republicans. You know, they also use them like Kid Rock. But let me say something. I think the American public, specifically Black people, we pretty tired of these celebrities. We really don't, because of the internet, because we can reach out and hit them up on a tweet and talk bad to them. And we're not amazed by celebrities anymore. Okay. They don't have the clout they used to have. And we see them for what they are, a bunch of degenerates, just be honest. Now, again, the difference between the Democrats using entertainers and the Republicans using entertainers is the sheer volume of it, okay? The obvious strategy of using Black entertainers to create excitement among voters who weren't necessarily excited about Kamala Harris's campaign itself, it started to look less like a presidential campaign and more like a traveling music festival with a candidate speaking between performances. Now, you all remember Hillary Clinton's hot sauce in the bag moment, right? Let me recap for you young people who don't remember. So this is April 18th, 2016. She was running for president, and she appeared on the Breakfast Club in New York. And this is one day before the New York Democratic primary. And so Hillary Clinton said she carried hot sauce in her purse. Did y'all really believe that? How many of you all really believe that this New England girl, young lady, okay, carried hot sauce? But nevertheless, she said it, okay? And in the statement, it immediately reminded listeners of the Beyonce lyric, "I got hot sauce in my bag, swag." And that's from the song Formation. And some of y'all might not remember, Beyonce used to be one of the biggest artists in America. Now she's a mom and she's married. She's Jay-Z's wife. But the bottom line is Charlemagne, not the God, directly warned Clinton that people would accuse her of pandering to black voters. And she said, is it working? Right? How cold-blooded is that? So Hillary Clinton's campaign later said she genuinely had a long-standing love for spicy food and carried a particular hot sauce from Whole Foods. I don't know about all that, but that's what she said. Shout out to the basement. I appreciate you for the contribution. Now, again, that may be true, as I said, but when a presidential candidate visits one of the most influential black radio programs and immediately before a primary and suddenly, right, starts talking about carrying hot sauce like Beyonce, people are entitled to question the time, and especially consider this woman was the vice president. She was the Secretary of State and the First Lady for 8 years with Bill Clinton. We never heard anything in the books about her carrying any hot sauce in the bed. I'm surely the Secret Service would have leaked that. That's something we would have heard about, okay? But we didn't. So that's why people think, oh, she just out here making up stuff. But bottom line is, that's Hillary Clinton. And then we had her doing the dab. All right. This is in January 11, 2016. She decided to jump on Ellen DeGeneres' show and she attempted to form the dab, right? Which is closely associated with hip hop culture and the Carolina Panthers quarterback at the time, Cam Newton. Yeah, I know you all don't remember this, but Cam Newton used to be a quarterback for the Carolina Panthers. Now y'all just know him as the dude with the big hair and the funny clothes on the podcast, okay? But he used to be a really good quarterback, and he had the kid almost went. All right, he ain't go, but we almost made it to the big to the big game, but it didn't work out. But anyway, that moment was presented as a way to make Clinton appear more youthful and culturally connected. Instead, it became one of the several awkward efforts to show voters that she was familiar with black pop culture. It just failed because remember, this is the same woman who called black men super predators. Okay, but anyway, doing the dance doesn't tell black voters what you're going to do with about generational wealth, our schools, or crime in the black community, does it? Or employment, or business ownership, or criminal justice, or the immigration problem. It tells them that the campaign consultant thought a viral dance might make the candidate look more relatable. Okay, and then we got Joe Biden. Then you ain't black. Remember we said that on May 22nd, 2022, back when he was still awake. And he said that during the interview with Charlemagne, not the God, at the Breakfast Club. Biden said, if you have a problem with figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, you ain't black. He apologized for that, and he acknowledged that it was too casual. Okay, and what that statement did was it exposed the basic assumption behind much of the Democrat outreach that black identity and Democrat voting are treated as though they are the same thing. Biden didn't merely argue that his policies were better. He suggested that a black person's racial authenticity could be questioned for even considering voting for a non-Democrat candidate. Okay, and that's what I've been telling y'all earlier. We have wrapped our identity up into a particular political party. Now, remember when Barack Obama was lecturing black men for hesitating to support Harris? That didn't work out well for him, did it? But that was on October 10th, 2024 at the Harris campaign office in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. This dude told a group of black men that he wasn't seeing the same enthusiasm for Harris that he had received, and suggested that some black men were uncomfortable with the idea of having a woman as a president. Look, first of all, more black men voted for Hillary Clinton than any other group of men in the first place. So we are not a sexist in that regard. We do vote for black leaders and white women who whatever. We vote for women, whether they black or white or whatever. All right. So his remarks were widely interpreted as a lecture. Okay. And he directed it specifically at black men again. And days later, the Harris campaign introduced something called a special opportunity agenda for black men. Okay, because we went so hard on Barack Obama, he ain't been right since. He better not come out saying anything to black folks in this next election, black men especially. We don't want to hear what he has to say. But again, the message appeared to be that black men weren't making a legitimate political judgment. In other words, we were too stupid and too sexist. All right, they were supposedly we're supposedly withholding our support because of sexism, rather than just saying, you know, what many black men felt politically, we felt ignored. And Obama placed the burden on us to prove our loyalty. Nah, man, hell no. And here's another one, right? Remember when Harris offered black men marijuana and cryptocurrency and loans? Remember that? So this is October 14, 2024. We're 20 days away from the election. And what happened? Well, Kamala Harris, she said she had some opportunity for agenda for black men. It included 1 million forgivable loans, okay, for entrepreneurships, apprenticeship, and incentives to increase black male teachers and health programs and addressing sickle cell disease and other conditions and protections for cryptocurrency investments and marijuana legalization. I do not want marijuana to be legalized because then they'll be smoking weed in the neighborhood. I don't want it to be legalized. I don't want to smell it. I don't want my kids to smell it. I don't want them to develop that habit. But anyway, she also said opportunities for black men to enter the cannabis industry. So again, I guess this is some of these elements were serious proposals, but the problem was the timing of the package. You wait to 20 days outside the campaign and you offer black men weed and free money and the opportunity to sell dope. That's what you're doing, huh? Right? And the reason they do it because they recognize they were losing support among black men. So, you know, less than a month before the election, it produced an agenda combining business loans with weed and cryptocurrency. And that invited the obvious question. Did the campaign strategists believe black men's major interests are weed, cryptocurrency, and government-backed loans? I don't think so. I don't think that's anything we're interested in per se. All right. Now, what about the other one? When you have congressional Democrats wearing kente cloths and kneeling, you know, led by Nancy Pelosi and Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer and some other congressional Democrats. You remember that photograph? So this wasn't one candidate campaign event. It occurred during the 2020 presidential congressional election. And it happened on June 8, 2020 at the U.S. Capitol. So the Democrat leaders wore Ghanaian kente cloth stoles, right? And we are not Ghanaian, we are American. But the bottom line is they knelt for 8 minutes and 46 seconds in memory of George Floyd before unveiling of police reform legislation. And the photo opportunity was mocked, mostly because the lawmakers none of them were Ghanaian. Many of them had no apparent connection to the kente cloth culture. All right. And the cloth had nothing specifically to do with George Floyd. George Floyd was a black man from America. Okay. But bottom line is the visual looked like political consultants had decided that African fabric was the fastest way to communicate solidarity with the black American community. Somebody type right on in the chat room, right? And then you got Pete Buttigieg. Is that his name, Buttigieg? Pete Buttigieg. Somebody type Pete Buttigieg. Pete Buttigieg using a Kenyan stock photo for his Black America plan. Think about that. All right, so he was running for president. And the controversy broke out in November 20th, 2019 and 2020 during the Democrat presidential campaign. So old Pete, he promoted what he called the Douglas plan, and it described as a comprehensive investment in Black America. And the website used a stock photo of a black woman with a child, and the woman wasn't even Black America. She was not FBA. The photograph had been taken in Kenya, and the campaign apologized. I guess we all looked the same. And they removed the image and blamed the selection on the contractor. It's the contractor fault, right? And that campaign was attempting to prove that it understood Black America, but apparently you don't even understand what we look like. Okay, you don't even know the difference between a foundational Black American and an African living thousands of miles apart. It was racial symbolism without a basic attention to who actually was on the picture. All right. And then another one from Buttigieg, all right? He was running for 2019 as the president. And what he did was, his campaign released a list suggesting that hundreds of Black South Carolinians supported his Douglas plan. And several people named in the list said they hadn't endorsed Buttigieg. They did not endorse Buttigieg. And some of the people said they approved only a portion of the policy or had never agreed to have their names publicly presented as supporters. And the controversy was particularly damaging because Buttigieg, was polling near zero amongst black South Carolina voters. Okay. And nothing says authentic black outreach quite like announcing black support that the supposed supporters never gave you. You understand what I'm saying? So now let's move on. Okay, this is all the shenanigans, the pandering. Did somebody type pandering just so we can catch up? Pandering. This is the pandering that they're doing. And again, I don't tell you who to vote for. Vote your interest. Okay, that's what I'm saying. Now, what about the 21 presidential candidates descending on Clyburn's fish fry? All right, now Senator Jim Clyburn, right? He always has his fish fry, right? Joe Biden showed up, Kamala Harris, Bernie Sanders, Elizabeth Warren, Cory Booker. Of course, Buttigieg was there, old Pete Buttigieg, and most of the 2020 Democratic presidential campaign. And they came down there in hot June 21st, 2019, first day of summer in Columbus, South Carolina. 21 Democrat presidential candidates attending Congressman Jim Clyburn's world famous fish fry. Somebody type fish fry. Somebody type catfish in the chat room. All right. And black voters made up majority of the South Carolina Democrat primary electorate. And the candidates treated that event as a mandatory stop. You know how much they had? 4,400 pounds of catfish. Okay, 6,600 slices of white bread. Somebody type white bread and catfish. Oh, I bet their cholesterol level was high, but they were constipated for days after that. But anyway, you know that white bread get in you and get you stuck. You better get you some Malanta. That white bread. You can't eat that white bread when you get older. You know your body don't process that processed wheat. You better cut that out. All that fried catfish and white bread, that's going to get you clogged up in there. You see what I'm saying? But anyway, all 21 of them candidates, they came down there. They had matching fish fry shirts on. You understand what I'm saying? They had the matching catfish, the little smiling catfish on their shirt, man. You know, the ridiculous part was watching almost the entire presidential field descend on one fish fry at the same time because every campaign has suddenly decided it needed to get a photograph eating catfish around black people. Just think about that. I want y'all to think about that, man. Isn't that ridiculous? To be more careful. But anyway, and then Michelle Obama, vote then. You remember when she said, vote then eat fried chicken? Remember that? I want to remember this. This is so Democrat candidates during the 2014 midterm. This is November 2014. Michelle Obama appeared on News One Now with Roland Martin to encourage the black turnout. And during a lighter exchange, Roland Martin asked whether people could eat fried chicken after voting. I want you to think about that. Look at the shenanigans there. Can you eat fried chicken after the voting? After you vote? And Michelle Obama said they could eat fried chicken after they voted. And the remark grew out of joking about her healthy eating campaign. So it wasn't simply Michelle Obama announcing that black people should be bribed with chicken. Nevertheless, okay, we understand that watermelon, fried chicken, and catfish and all that stuff, it evokes these stereotypical views of black people. So the combination of black targeted voter appeal and fried chicken basket, it produced the immediate criticism that you would expect in the headlines. All right, and that's another good example of why context matters. It was a joke, but it also shows how routinely political outreach to black people gets wrapped up in food stereotype. What if you say, hey, yeah, I'm gonna go down here and to the border and we're gonna serve tacos and enchiladas to all these Mexicans, right? We're gonna give them some tacos and enchiladas and we're gonna get them to vote. This just sounds racist, sounds stereotypical, okay? Why don't you give them some steaks? How about some bone-in ribeyes? How about that? Okay, can't do that. That doesn't send the message that you want. It does not show that you are down with the heritage. But they don't try that on those other races. They just do it to black people. They try to play us. But anyway, the Democrat presidential hopefuls in multiple elections have done this. Usually the president, every presidential primary cycle, especially in 2019, and again as a prospect in 2028, candidates began appearing around by 2025, 2026. Look, they back at that Clyburn fish fry. It's become a ritual for national. I mean, just think about that. The Clyburn's fish fry, seeking access to South Carolina's heavily black Democratic electorate, and the candidates appear to eat fish. They pose for pictures. They praised Clyburn in an attempt to demonstrate their connection to black Southern voters in 2025 and more likely in 2026 and 2028. You know, you had Governor Westmore and Minnesota Governor Tim Walz. They came down there to South Carolina to eat some fried fish. And after the party began rebuilding after 2024, again, there's nothing wrong with attending a legitimate community event and pandering and becomes, but see, the pandering becomes too obvious when the politicians show up every 4 years and take photographs with a paper plate. You know that paper, you got to get at least two. Gotta get at least, because that grease gonna go through that chicken unless they put that fried chicken on some bounty and let the grease drain out. But most people just take it right off there and put it right in there. Now you got a greasy fried chicken plate and then your hands greasy. Okay, and then you feel like it take the rest of the day to get that grease off your hand unless you got some good soap. Get some of that Ivory or some of that soap that those plumbers use to get that grease off. Okay, depending on the type of grease you need. Can't get that Wesson. All right, that Wesson, that don't give you, that's gonna give you gas. What you need is that good grease, that stuff that turns white. Okay, that lard. You need that lard. That's what you need. That lard come right off. It's biodegradable. Somebody type biodegradable in the chat room. That lard that your grandma used to keep on the stove, and you be like, Grandma, you about to cook with that? That got like chicken giblets in it. She take a scoop of that, put it right in that black skillet and fry that chicken up. Okay, and you better make sure your grease is hot, because if you start trying to fry your chicken and your grease is not hot, then you know your chicken gonna come out soggy. The crust is gonna be mushy and soggy, and it's not gonna be cooked all the way on the inside. Now you can ask me a lot of questions about how I know so much about fried chicken, and I will tell you that I attended Grambling State University in North Louisiana. Okay, somebody type GSU. It is the blackest black college that ever existed in America, and it is in the middle of nowhere. We are in a place called Lincoln Parish. Okay, running down the street, they got Martin Luther King Boulevard. Okay, so you know it is the blackest black college. So you're gonna learn how to fry chicken. So I perfected my chicken frying artistry at Grambling. I didn't learn as a young man. I learned all the stuff. I learned how to cook cornbread, collard greens, everything. It was a black cultural exchange. Okay, but nevertheless, I done got off subject. My bad. I apologize for you all. But anyway, I can talk. I need to start a broadcast on cooking recipes. That's what I need to start, because some of y'all can't cook. I know how to cook etouffee, cornbread, turkey. I don't bake. I'm not a baker. I don't do baking, but I'd fry up some stuff and I could barbecue with the best. But anyway, let me get back to it. So anyway, let's move on to James Tallarico. You know, James Tallarico, he went in a nearly empty soul food restaurant. James Tallarico. Now, this man is running for U.S. Senator from Texas. Y'all don't like him because, you know, Jasmine Crockett lost to him and y'all mad. But anyway, in July, this is recent, he went to Mickey's Soul Food Cafe in Houston's historical Black Third Ward. Okay. Now, Tallarico, now, just so y'all don't, I know we shouldn't say this, but they closed down, they closed down a couple of soul food restaurants, so he had to hunt this one down. You know, the one that was in what's that movie that they filmed with Jada Pinkett? What's the name? What's the name of that movie? Jada Pinkett was in that movie, and it was in Houston, and she was in it. And what's the name of that movie? I can't remember the name of that movie from back in the day. But anyway, you know, the Jada Pinkett movie, Soul Food Restaurant, they closed that down. Okay. And then there was another one off of Southmore and Alameda. They closed that down. So he had to go to Mickey's. He had to go to Mickey's Soul Food. I understand what you're doing. You had to find one to go to. But anyway, Tallarico, this Democrat senator nominee running for against Republican Ken Paxton, he went down to this black-owned soul food restaurant. He ordered smothered chicken, some side dishes, and some dessert with the Democrat state representative Ron Reynolds, and he took photographs. But the lunchtime crowd had already left, so you're in there by yourself, you know. And the event reportedly included only a handful of local people. They had to really go get some people off the street. Come on in, get some free food. We'll pay for it. Man, I got to go to work. Nah, come on in. So that's what happened. So he got there after the lunch crowd. There was no black people around, so you could have been anyway. That's right, Jason's lyric. But anyway, Houston's Chronicle, the columnists, they described it as a missed opportunity because the campaign hadn't meaningfully engaged in major third ward institutions, churches, or nearby Texas Southern University. And it was almost a perfect picture of what superficial outreach looks like. Walked into an empty soul food restaurant, ordered some smothered chicken, take some pictures with a black politician and call it an engagement with the black community when you got the damn TSU right down the street, okay? Now, the other thing is, when we talk about black churches, they like the mandatory campaign stop. Hillary Clinton, Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, Pete Buttigieg, Michael Bloomberg, and all the numerous other Democrats, okay? Whatever position, whether it's presidential, statewide, Congress seat, we've seen it happen since 2016, 2020, 2024, pretty much every election cycle. The candidates show up at a black church right before the primary or the general election. They sit near the pulpit, okay? So they can be seen, they clap with that, look at the smile. Everybody put your fake smile on. You see what I'm saying? They put their fake smile on, they clap for the choir, they quote the scripture, they misquote the scripture, they praise the civil rights history, and they receive introductions from these influential pastors right before the collection plate, okay? Right before, because they want to make sure they contribute too. So you can't let the politicians leave. You got to send that first round of offerings out and then that after round, okay? So that, but you got to get that after round before they listen. You get money from them 2 times. Put the check in there. Don't just don't thump it when it go by. Put some money in there. But the bottom line is, after the election, many of those politicians, they don't even come back to those churches again, okay? So the black churches have a real legitimate political role because they essential institutions during segregation and civil rights, and black people still look up to those churches with reverence, okay? But the pandering occurs when candidates treat the church as a ready-made campaign set stop rather than a community whose members have specific policy demands. Now, the rappers as political translators for black community. Bill Clinton did it, Barack did it, Hillary Clinton, Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, and it especially became prominent between 2008 and 2024. So the Democrat campaigns increasingly use rappers, hip-hop personalities like Jay-Z, Beyonce, who I know she's not hip-hop, but you know, bottom line is the campaign for Barack Obama used it, Hillary Clinton used it, they used Killer Mike, campaign for Bernie Sanders, Cardi B was interviewed by Joe Biden, Ludacris, Jermaine Dupri, Jeezy, 2 Chainz, Quavo, Meg Thee Stallion, and all of these people appeared at these Democrat campaign programming events over the years. And the political writers have reportedly observed that these appearances can look superficial when campaigns use artists as cultural props without engaging the communities in substantive demands. And see, there's nothing inherently wrong with a rapper or entertainer discussing politics. The insult comes when campaigns act as though a rapper is required to translate government policy to black adults, or that a concert can substitute for an economic program. Now, the larger pattern, okay? Now, you want to take all this together. These examples show that the same recurring formula. As election day approaches, Democrat candidates visit the Breakfast Club. They appear at black churches. They discover soul food restaurants. They attend fish fries. They stand beside rappers. They borrow black slang. They dance badly. They wear African cloth. They announce a plan with the word black as the title, even though they'll flip the script and call it people of color later on. They tell black voters that democracy itself depends on their turnout. And then the election ends. And the celebrities go home. The Kente cloth goes back into storage. The fish fry shirts disappear. The campaign office in the black neighborhood closes down. The candidate stops visiting the barbershops. The same voters who were called the backbone of democracy are expected to wait quietly until the next election, right? And see, now some of you may say, well, you know, why aren't you spending all this time on the Republicans? I told you before, we don't vote for them people. It don't matter. We don't vote for them. So they don't come dealing with us like that. But the bottom line is, family, this is where we are. And it is pandering season, okay? It is pandering season. And you got to be aware that these are the games that are afoot. Now, I want to take the time to read the super chats, and I have some more to say. And I want to thank the people who contribute to the super chat, the Cash App, and the PayPal. And again, you see my information at the top. I've had a lot of people call my office talking about they got criminal matters since y'all saw me discussing the Carmelo Anthony case with my good friend Willie D. Shout out to Willie D. I appreciate the brother. Passionate, he gave a passionate response. He gave me a lot to work with, so shout out to him. But you know, if you've been involved in a car accident, you can call me. Don't call me for anything else. I don't do family law. I don't do anything else. My practice is 100% focused on car accidents. That's what my law practice is geared for. You can call me at 866-LAW-BIG. That's toll free, 866-LAW-BIG. And you know, we'll keep it pushing from there. Bottom line is, look, shout out to Blue Baggins. Kamala just gave us her permission to ask for tangibles for our vote. That's gracious of her. I think, yeah, I mean, isn't that amazing that she's been listening to us yahoos on the internet that they ignored, talking about tangibles and reparation, and she jumped in front of it and told us, oh yeah, you get my permission. That's what they teach you in leadership class. You figure out which way people want to go, and then you hop in front of them and lead them in that direction till you can lead them back into the way you want them to go. That's pretty much how that works. Okay, that's pretty much how that works. So that's textbook leadership class 101. But bottom line is, it's not gonna work. We didn't ask her for permission. We don't need her permission, and we're gonna keep doing what we're doing. Shout out for the collection plate. Thank you so much, Kyle Morton. I appreciate you for your time. Also, USA Toilet says the following. Let's see if we can read this. USA Toilet says blacks don't want their foot chopped off for running away from the Democrat plantation. They are traumatized after what happened to Kunta Kinte. Man, you crazy, man. I appreciate you. Very, very good. Yeah, it's okay. Sarcasm. I enjoy sarcasm. Sarcasm is the comedy of the rich. It's the humor of the intelligent. Yeah, we like the sarcasm here, but shout out to you guys. Let's move on to the next one. Oh, my girl Penelope, always good to have her in here. She says the spell is being broken. Hallelujah. Thanks, Dennis, for staying steadfast and being part of that. You are amazing. It's so important. Thank you so much, baby. You got me up here. Bless you. You can't talk to me like that. Don't you say those nice things to me like that. I grew up in a tough neighborhood with low self-esteem. We can't be telling people like that. These people might try to get me. But shout out to you, baby. I appreciate you so much. Thank you so much for your years of support. Also, we got my girl Penelope, membership for 16 months. Yes, you have been. Also, let's see. Old Wise One, thank you for the $10 super sticker. Wrinkle Brain 08, thank you for the $20 and for the super sticker. My girl Unshakable with April, thank you for featuring my content. You rock. That you rock too. Thank you. You appreciate you. Keep doing what you're doing. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah. But she does a great job of getting the word out. Also, TJM Truth 72, love your show and your take, brother Spurling. Thank you for keeping it real. Yeah, I'm gonna keep it honest with you, man. I'm more concerned about my legacy. I'm not so necessarily concerned about trying to be popular. I do appreciate people subscribing to my channel, and if we get there organically, that'll be great. But what I'm not gonna do is pimp myself out for money. Money's just not that important to me. And I know that's hard for people to understand, but you can't buy somebody when money is not my motivation. The only thing that motivates me is trying to leave this world to be a better place than what it is. That's it. That's it, because that's really all you have. Nobody remembers the money, the cars you drove. They remember what you actually did, okay? And so my goal is to try to be the best human being I can be. And again, I'm not here to tell you what to do. You all grown-ups. I just say vote your interest. That's it. Vote your interest. And if your interests are not being represented, sit on the couch. That's my advice to you. I don't think anybody else is saying that. I don't have an agenda or an itinerary. You see, I'm just not interested in. Shout out to my man Quiet Storm. Thank you so much for the Cash App. Always been there. Appreciate you for being one of the people who've been here for such a long time. Let's see who else we got. We have Canary Valence. Thank you so much. And also Marcel Pierce, thank you. Learned something and appreciate you. Brenda Wilder, Anna Brown, Zakaria Bay, and Angela Harris. Patricia Hightower, thank you so much. I appreciate you all. Let's move on. The basement. Dennis, tell me why these Black Democrat women are giving speeches standing next to known communists and socialists. Yeah, That's another thing, man. I've talked about that on broadcast before. Support the stream. Shout out to Uncle Stu, the old man on the block. Thank you so much, family. I appreciate this. Shout out to the 12 people who contributed to the super chat. Like I say, you don't owe me anything. You don't owe me anything. If you learn something, I should earn something. All right. And if you did learn something, I'd appreciate it if you contribute to the super chat. It's not necessarily, it's a way to keep score. It lets everybody know, wow, this guy is really moving. You see, that's how we keep score. Subscriber count and super chats and cash apps. That lets people know, well, this is the direction we want to go. So if you reward the people who speak the truth and say what you want to hear, you'll have more people like me. And that's how we keep it going. Now, let's do this. When Democrat campaigns decide it's time to reach black voters, and I want to break this down to you, okay? Because we have to understand what these tactics reveal about Democrat strategies and their view of black voters. All right. Somebody type, would you like to know? Okay. And as I was saying, when Democrat campaigns decide it's time to reach black voters, they don't send black economists, business owners, attorneys, physicians, engineers, professors, military officers, or financial experts, do they? They don't gather black voters in serious settings to discuss taxes and investment and banking, trade, property ownership, education, crime, immigration, or long-term wealth. They don't do that. You know who they send? Meg Thee Stallion. They send Cardi B. They send stripper rappers. They come through with the sexually shout out to my girl Patricia Hightower. They come through with the sexually provocative freak dancers and the fried fish and the fried chicken and the collard greens that they done washed in the bathtub. They come through with chitlins and hot sauce and church performances. And then they call that black outreach. What does that say about how these people see us? That's the most important thing, okay? It says Democrat strategists believe black voters are a bunch of gluttons, freak dancing, sex starved celebrity worshipers. That's what it easily befuddled by racial flattery and emotional slogans rather than serious public policy. They really believe that black people prefer to be entertained as opposed to be informed. And they don't think a detailed economic presentation is enough. They think that the candidate needs to have hood credibility and a rapper standing beside her or him, a raunchy strip club music playing behind them, and dancers moving across the stage, and a plate of catfish for everybody who's there. That's what they think. Look at the Kamala Harris 2024 campaign featuring Meg Thee Stallion at a presidential rally in Atlanta, right? With Meg Thee Stallion on there with her hotties for hair. Cardi B came through in Wisconsin. Beyonce came through, and Kelly came through in Houston. Usher came through in Georgia. Lizzo came through in Detroit. So instead of presenting a presidential campaign built around a clear record and convincing policy program, the Democrats spent $1 billion. That's how much her campaign. $1 billion on a presidential campaign that looked like a traveling concert with a political speech that came between. All right. And again, the issue is not Meg Thee Stallion, Cardi B, or any of those other artists endorsing Kamala Harris. The issue is why the campaign believed those particular performers were necessary to communicate with black voters. Think about it. Both of those women built major parts of their public brands around sexually explicit lyrics and provocative dancing and adult entertainment and imagery. Okay. And Megan performed with dancers at a presidential rally. Cardi B is a former stripper who admits that she used to drug and rob people and has spoken openly about that period of her life. And so when the national political campaign repeatedly chooses former adult entertainers as ambassadors to Black America, it's fair to ask what image of black voters exists inside the campaign. In other words, who do they think we're like? Who do they think we identify with? In other words, why do they think that black culture is showing that they're down with black culture means they're showing they're down with these stripper rappers? That's basically telling you they think black folk are a bunch of degenerates. That's what they think, because if they know if we identify with her, that'll put us closer to the culture because that's the culture. That's what they think. I want you to think about that, man. Okay, and this is where you get stuff like get your booty on the poll, a voter turnout advertisement aimed largely at black men which featured more strippers and dancing and polls discussing prosecutors, sheriffs, school boards, and local elections. Think about the assumption behind that. Somebody concluded that black men wouldn't pay attention to a serious discussion about the government unless strippers were placed on the screen. You see, they apparently believe that black men are sex starved, okay, and we require freaks on the screen. Somebody type freaks on the screen. Freaks on the screen to make us care about voting. That's not respect. That is a racial stereotype dressed up like political outreach. And the food is revealing also. Every election cycle, you got these Democrats suddenly discover buckets of fried chicken and fried catfish plates and barbecue and collard greens and cornbread, hot sauce and pig feet and chitlins. And the truth about food on that type of food on the Democrat selection, we know we call it soul food, but the truth is it's slave food. Can we be honest? It grew up out of degradation and poverty and deprivation and our people trying to survive. Enslaved black people had to make meals from scraps and wasted portions of animals and whatever ingredients were available to them. The real, y'all know the real word for chitlins? Shitlins. Shitlins are pig guts, pig intestines, pig feet are exactly what the name says. They are food. It became part of black Southern culture because our ancestors ate what they could to survive and sustain the family. That history deserves acknowledgement. It deserves acknowledgement, but it insults. It's an insult when political campaigns reduce black culture to foods our ancestors were forced to survive on, and black people transform deprivation into life. But that doesn't mean politicians get to run up in our communities every 4 years, holding a plate of pig feet and collard greens, and act as though they understand us. And our political interests are greater than what's being served at Jim Clyburn's catfish fry. It's like catfish has almost become the official fish of the Democrat outreach section. Politicians show up at fish fries, take pictures holding paper plates, shake hands with black church members, disappear when the cameras leave, and then don't approach us people that they don't approach people that they respect that way. They don't do that. They don't go to Wall Street and come up in there with some goddamn hush puppies for those bankers, do they? And some hot sauce and chitlins and some. They don't do that with some booty dance. They don't show up on Wall Street like that. They don't visit these tech execs and bring a bunch of strippers. And before they start discussing artificial intelligence, they don't address farmers by putting on a country concert and refusing to discuss crop prices. And those groups are approached through their industries and their money and their property and their policy concerns. Black people are approached as a cultural audience rather than an economic constituency. And that's an insult. And when campaigns speak, look, man, when they speak to organized labor, they discuss collective bargaining and wages and pensions and workplace protection. When they speak to immigrants, they discuss asylum, deportation, citizenship, visas, and public benefits. When they speak to these environmental groups, they discuss energy, emissions, federal regulation. But when they come to black people, the conversations we start talking about rappers and strippers and soul food and black churches and civil rights and catfish and pig feet and chitlin and hog maws and pig ears. And who can get the best celebrity endorsement. And that pattern suggests that they don't see black Americans primarily as property owners or taxpayers, former military veterans, school teachers, engineers, or business owners. They don't see us as parents, investors, professionals, and citizens. They see us as a dependable voting bloc that can be activated through cultural signals. Play the right music, find a black church, mention Dr. Martin Luther King, tell black women they're the backbone of the democracy, lecture black men on their responsibility as father, and warn everybody about racism is coming, right? And then collect the votes, and even the church visits become part of a performance. You see, politicians who haven't spent any time in the black church, suddenly they sitting in the front row on election day, clapping for the choir, misquoting the word of God, praising black women, talking about civil rights movements. and receive some induction from some paid black pastor that contributed to his the pastor's anniversary celebration. Him and the first lady of the church. Amen. And then after the church, they gone. Church wasn't treated as a serious institution with economic and political demands. It was used as a stage set. And that's the same thing. The same thing happens when campaigns use rappers and political translators. And in Black America, we have accomplished economists and judges and lawyers and doctors, historians, professors, engineers, entrepreneurs, and policy but they don't reach out to us. You see? Yet the party repeatedly acts as though Black adults need an entertainer to explain why we should vote and who we should vote for. That means they believe political information must be filtered through entertainment before Black people will accept it. That's crazy, man. Now let me tell y'all something real ugly. Somebody type ugly in the chat room. See, the underlying message is simple. Feed them fried fish, bring out some strippers, play some rap music, praise Black women, frighten the hell out of them with racism, go to the family church, and they'll fall in line. And that's what the tactics communicate. Whether the campaign admits it or not, these tactics appeal to something political scientists call social identity and symbolic politics. Okay? In other words, family, and I'm going to explain this so you understand the game being run on. Somebody type tricks for kids in the chat room. People don't vote based only on detailed policy analysis. Many people, Black people included, vote because a candidate feels familiar, shares their cultural references, appears to understand the community, and makes them feel seen or respected. See? And with all that stuff they're doing, eating your fried fish and catfish, and going to the strip club because you like going to the Ace of Spades and Onyx. Oh yeah, they know what I like, right? See, here's the thing. Most Americans don't spend hundreds of hours studying tax policy and appropriations bills and monetary policy or immigration law. Instead, they rely on shortcuts. If a trusted pastor, your pastor, right, or your favorite rapper or singer, or whoever your favorite respected athlete or community leader puts their stamp of approval on the candidate, a lot of voters treat that as an endorsement, as evidence that that candidate must be all right and deserves your consideration. Look, Democrats do it, Republicans do it too, but they use military veterans. That's why you see the Republicans sending a bunch of military, they send cops out there. They send their evangelical pastors out there. They have their conservative media personalities for the same reason. So they do it too, because people rely on trusted messengers. And there's also a group of the power of the group identity. And this is very important to Black people. Once you listen to me, you're going to learn something that's going to save your life. All right. If people believe a political party has historically represented their community or defended their interests, they develop a strong sense of loyalty. If you got one party who say, all we're going to do is fight racism, we fight racism, that's in our historical interest. Okay. So voting for the other party means you're fighting against racism. Right? Racism was a hell of a problem that we had to deal with. I just want you to understand group identity. All right. And so over time, voting becomes part of the group identity. Rather than a fresh evaluation every 2 years or 4 years, once that happens, these symbolic gestures reinforce an existing relationship, even when they wouldn't persuade someone who was politically independent. So every time they come, they told you we here to fight racism. Every time they come through with a hot plate of catfish and a booty rapper, a booty shake rapper, like, yeah, they still down with us. You see what I'm saying? These symbolic gestures reinforce that existing relationship that even when that Democrats are still down with the culture. You see? Right? And so now instead of thinking independently, say what's really good for us, you just say, no, I'm gonna go with them, right? It's easy to understand. but people naturally pay more attention to information that reinforces beliefs they already hold, and more skeptical of information that challenges those beliefs. That's why y'all will never believe that Donald Trump is not a racist. You have to believe that because all Republicans are racist. You see what I'm saying? So any new information, you're gonna look at that skeptical, right? Or the Republican Party has some policies that are good for black people, or that the Democrat Party has some policies that are horrible for black people, right? See, a voter who already identifies strongly with one party interprets a celebrity endorsement or a church visit as proof that they're on the right side. Beyonce said it. I already kind of felt like I was, so I know I'm right to vote for this person. And they'll dismiss any contrary evidence. And the criticism, it isn't, it isn't that black voters are uniquely susceptible to this tactic, okay? We're not. Every major political party uses these emotional appeals. They've sent forth these trusted messengers and these cultural symbolism, and they use that with these different constituencies. And the criticism is that the Democrats, they rely disproportionately on entertainment and cultural symbolism when they're communicating with black voters, rather than emphasizing detailed discussions in economic mobility, and wealth creation and education and business ownership and measurable policy outcomes. And ultimately, the healthiest democratic model is one where voters appreciate cultural respect, but still ask harder questions. What is your record? What exactly are you proposing? How will it work? How much will it cost? And will I know if it succeeded? Those are questions. They shift the conversation from symbolism to accountability. All right. Now, again, I don't believe black people are that shallow. And you all approve that. You heard all those videos mauling black people. You heard that? You heard that? I don't believe that black people that are that shallow. And I think what's about to happen is this. I think what you all are going to learn, and this is something I've been thinking about, and you might agree or disagree, but this is what I think is going to
You about to lose your job.
Democrats.
You about to lose your job. Get this dance.
Democrats.
You about to lose your job because you
Democrats.
are detaining me for nothing.
Democrats.
Why are you detaining me?
Yeah. Democrats.
You are about to lose your job.
All the Democrats.
And you are about to lose your job. Get this dance. And you are about to lose your job because you are detaining me for nothing.
That's what I think. That's what I think.
Why are you detaining me?
Here we go. Y'all like
you
that?
You about to lose your job.
Yeah, Democrats.
You about to lose your job. Get this dance. You about to lose your job because you are detaining me for nothing.
Yeah, I've been voting for you for nothing. But anyway, as I woke y'all up. But anyway, as I was saying, I don't think black people are that shallow. Black men don't need strippers to understand the importance of voting, and black women don't need a rapper to tell them how to evaluate presidential campaign. We certainly don't need fried chicken, pig feet, collard green, chitlins, catfish, hot sauce, and gospel music as our substitutes for an economic agenda, although that sounds like a good time. But bottom line is black voters are capable of understanding taxation, business regulation, immigration, banking, housing, education, crime, healthcare, trade, inheritance, and wealth creation. And so stop treating Black America like a nightclub with a buffet attached. You understand? And bring a policy, bring numbers, right? We need a measurable plan. Explain what you're going to do, how much it would cost, and who will it benefit, and when will the results appear? Anything less is not outreach. It's just political theater built on stereotypes. And here's the thing. I'm going to tell y'all again. I'm going to keep telling y'all. Vote your interest. I'm not here to tell you who to vote for. Okay? I'm not here to tell you how to vote. I'm certainly not going to tell you grown men and grown women how you should cast your ballot. That's not what that's a decision every American citizen has to make for him or herself. But I will say this, if one political party shows you that little respect and you find the other party so repulsive, right, you simply can't support it, remember the couch is always an option. Somebody type the couch in the chat room. All right, because nobody is entitled to your vote. Your vote is earned. It's not inherited. If neither party has made a compelling case that it deserves your support, you have a right to withhold your vote until one of them does. And the worst thing you can do is give your vote away automatically. You understand me? So all I'm asking you all to do is make every political party compete for you and your respect and make them earn it. All right. But again, family, this is the pandering season, and the Democrats are back. And so keep your eyes open, keep your ears open, man. Listen, be intelligent. And as I always say at this time, this is Uncle D, and I am
Dennis Spurling Podcast. Hit the like button, subscribe.
Mm-hmm.